Hello. Chat, I got one question for you. Do you have your coffees? Let's go. Soap, thank you very much for the tier 1 subscription. I appreciate you and your face. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hello. Welcome. Yeah. I startled you. Sorry. Shouting already. Great. Sorry, Soap. Sorry, guys. Am I shouting? I apologize. I have a fear that you just won't be able to hear me otherwise, you know? Welcome. Hello. Thank you. Thank you very much for the sub, Soap, Mr. Clean. I appreciate you. Karai, Captain Slow, welcome. Snipering, Claw. Hello. Benny, Andy, Funky, Kerr.
Good morning to Joey and Chat.
Let's go, Felsia. The tier 1 sub and 200 bits already, Lord of Glove. Welcome, guys. Thank you very much for the 200 bits, Felsia. I appreciate you. Reeps, hello, welcome. Socks and Sandals, absolutely. Merlin, good afternoon. Damo, just going to start work, Mr. Stream, but have a good one. Thank you, Matt. I appreciate you. Enjoy. Hope your tooth's okay. Compafixer, welcome. Yo, Big E, my guy, welcome. How are you? LK, welcome. Another stream. Glad to have some company-wide debug code. Woo. Yeah, I guess I can kind of help with that. Not the debugging the code, but being here for you. Shiro, coming in with a tier 1 for 5 months in a row. 24 months total. Shiro, 2 years of support is absolutely insane. Thank you for supporting me and JDT on this journey for 2 years. I appreciate you. That's very kind. Thank you. 2 years pretty much to the day, Shiro, since I went full time. So that one hits home. Thank you very much. Coca-Cola Zero, does that count? I think it has some caffeine, so yeah, I think so. Have my Monster, lovely jubbly. Someone must have slept well. I went swimming today. I was meant to go to the gym. I didn't go to the gym today. I've been twice this week already, and is it twice this week we're there? Tuesday, Wednesday, and then I should be able to, I'm technically meant to be going for the next 3 after today, because we had swimming, and it was my little boy's first ever time in the pool.
New job. Less time for gaming. You know how it is.
Yes, I do know exactly how it is, Big E. However, how's the new job going? I hope that's doing well. Thank you very much for the 200 bits. 200 bits come from Felsia. 200 bits come from Big E, my guy. Thank you. Full of beans. Someone has to be. Hype train incoming. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you. I'm good, Jose. How are you? All back to normal. Have a good one. Nice. Much love. I get to watch the stream since I can't leave the house. 12 inches of snow overnight and it's still coming out. Felsia, where do you live? Like, what country? Squash again soon, Joey. I'm not too sure. Can we have a 2-year update on life after work? What do you mean a 2-year update on life after work? What do you mean? Sorry, Michael. Over to the YouTubes. Who we got on the YouTubes? Hello. Viking, Gary, Dan, Cheap, James, Mr. Fixes, Pro, hello. James just coming in saying, I eat thermal paste. Gotta go take my body to an appointment. See you later, Gary. Much love. Thank you. Be worth having... What be like having a buffet? What are you guys talking about? MK, welcome. How are you? Yeah, of course it is flip-flops and socks, man. It's actually Crocs and socks. It's 10 times worse. Just wondering who does your animation work and graphic design. Oh, I paid somebody to make that animation screen for me. Caffeine high. I've just had my first sip. Just then. Drinking caffeine-free Diet Coke. Had a coffee earlier too. Too much caffeine causes me problems. I've tried to stop having my coffee in the morning. I say that. I haven't tried. I've just stopped. I've stopped having it. So technically, this is my second coffee of the day though, because I did have a little cheeky Costa earlier. Been watching you for a while. Enjoy your content. Keep up, pal. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Claw, Apol, Mark. Welcome, guys. Welcome. On tech site support. Just thinking if I trust my soldering enough for a Switch mod chip. Oh, good luck. Eagles, welcome. How are you? I'm over in Ohio in the US. We had a chat a while ago about pizza, and I have a lot of chats with a lot of people about pizza, because pizza is life. Pizza is everything. Everything. There's a lot of snow in Ohio then, is there? But yeah, pizza's amazing. The differences between work and self-employment, how the journey is going, what's coming next, etc. So what you guys just want a little bit of an update? Michael, is that what you're asking? I don't know if anybody else wants that. But you guys just want a little bit of update on JDT. how it's been and what my plans are. Is that what you guys are asking for? One in the chat if that's what you want. Because I can definitely have a think about it. You do? There's quite a lot of people as well, actually, who have shown some interest in it. Okay. All right. What I will say is I took a risk and I went from working full-time 5 days a week to, and just to confirm as well, I've worked in, like, you know, a corporate setting, and I'd guess you kind of say like a normal job, essentially, with shift work and all those things, since I was 19 up until 31. So I'd done enough time to know about, like, you know, real life work and certain jobs. I always kind of had my mind in business, but I just never knew where to start, nor did I ever have the money to start a business. But I think that was like a secondary thing. The main thing was I didn't know what I wanted to do in business. So I worked full-time at Rocket Repairs, which was the shop that I used to work at and do the repairs before I made the decision to go full-time into JDT content creation. And I spoke to my boss, and I've always been about taking calculated risks, right? So it's not necessarily been a straight up risk everything and then either gain loads or lose loads. It's always been a calculated risk with safety nets in place financially to make sure that my family don't suffer, because that's the last thing I want. So I spoke to my boss and I went down to 4 days a week, and I managed to go down to 4 days a week and put an extra day into content creation. That was my calculated risk. Mevans, thank you very much for the tier 1 for 5 months. Anything like this is just bonuses as well, by the way. So don't feel like there is any need in any way, shape or form to sub or give bits or gifted subs or anything like that. These are just bonuses. You guys just being here is enough for me. So my calculated risk was like giving up the day at work and losing that extra day's worth of money to focus on content creation. When I then realized that I could put an extra video out in a week and do 2 a week, I was like, okay, I'm earning more money that way now. There's my kind of like calculated risk. Now I'm going to jump into this full time, and I've got my like safety egg of 6 months. I'll give it everything for 6 months and see what happens. After the first couple of months, that very quickly turned out to, okay, it's going to be a year. I am mind, body, and soul so much less stressed doing content creation full time. So much less stress. So there's not even like, I can't. I've not had I haven't had like a serious illness. Now, when I say a serious illness, I'm talking about flu or being completely written off. I had 1 migraine. I've not had a really bad illness, touch wood. I've said it now. Since going full time, which is 2 years. As far as I can remember. Definitely not from September 2024. The reason I know that is because that is when I started going to the gym. So I think...
Hello again from Canada. You want
Clyde.
Cold and snow. We have snowmageddon
Please.
today, approximately 25 centimeters so far from last night.
Wow. Mevin, thank you very much for the tier 1 5 months. Clyde's coming in with a prime for 14 months. Clyde, thank you very much for the support. I appreciate you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, sir. That's very, very kind of you. Thank you. Give me the snow. I think there's a culmination of 2 reasons as to why I've not been ill and why I'm now so resilient to actually picking anything up, because my kids have been ill. My wife even had a little bit of a stint. Like, I just don't know what's going on. I credit that to less stress. I'm not having no stress. There's stress in different ways, chat. There's different levels of stress in life. Honestly, I can't tell you. I just don't. There's different levels of stress. I'm still stressed, but I'm a nice stressed. I'm a stressed at the moment that is like, if I don't perform, that is on me, nobody else. What do I mean by perform? Stay consistent, put out my videos, build my my content library, do all my short form stuff. Like, and I'm still actively growing. So like, I've seen nothing but like consistent growth since going full time. If that started to go down, even if it kind of tailed off a little bit, I'd be okay in the sense of, it's on me. I can make this improve. If I cancelled myself, then it's GG. But what I'm saying is like, it's still going up. I accredit my lack of illness to gym and exercising and less stress from work. That's what I attribute my my immune system, I guess, to, is the fact that I just don't have the stress of. I think I've always been so like, I don't want to let people down, that when it comes to work, it was like my worst fear is that if I had a job to do and I didn't do that job for somebody, or I did that job bad, I would eat myself up, guys. I'd be so stressed about it because I didn't know how to handle it. That was just me. So I always made sure if I was doing a job for somebody, it was done. And the jobs that I had, like especially when it comes to fixing, is a stressful job. Like doing repair as a service is a stressful job. If you really take care of the device and you really care about the job itself and you don't want to upset people, it's horrible because you play on yourself. But I guess then like it's like you are actively trying to do better because you don't want to break the device or do the repair wrong or upset the person.
Wow.
Joseph Neal coming in with a tier 1 for 16 months. Thank you so much, Joseph. I appreciate that. 16 months. What I will say is that I've obviously had children as well recently. So after I went full time, I already had a little girl, right? I already had a little girl when I decided to go full time. But then along came Mini Man, Macro, and that adds stress. 2 children it's a different stress to 1 child. Having 1 child is stressful. Having another child is like a different stress. If I had to be working full time in a job that I didn't enjoy, and I had the stress of what I had with the children, it would just be life. I wouldn't know any different. So I wouldn't necessarily complain about it. But I feel like I've personally, for my mental health, handled it so much better because of the fact I have my own way of life and working now, if that makes sense. I believe my job has been made easier because of how flexible I am able to be for my children. My stress, remember what I said about letting people down? My stress of having children would have come from if I had to work and I wasn't able to go to a certain appointment, or I wasn't able to go to my daughter's first Christmas nativity play because of XYZ, or I was worried about not having time off over Christmas. Those stresses would destroy me mentally. So did I make the right decision packing everything up full time and going content creation? I'd do it 1,000 times over. There's no question. Money went up. Stress went down. It's a win-win. There's no loss. My social skills have depleted. I will tell you that. Even though I'm talking to you guys, it's effectively, I know that I'm talking to people and humans, but I'm talking to a camera in my room for my videos and my streams. So like my social interaction, my social skills have probably plummeted through the floor. However, that got worse from COVID anyway. So that was already in the toilet. You see what I'm saying? Because I worked from home during COVID for IT support. So it was down bad anyway. I obviously have the other stresses of like, if things go bad, then it's on me. But I like that stress. I thrive with that stress. I like that. Some people might not like that. But I like that because I know that when times get tough for me, and have done for JDT, that when there's been a little blips or I've done something wrong, I know it's on me. It drives me to do better. And it all really depends on how you react in those moments. And you can't really plan for that because emotions hit you like a ton of bricks. So that's very like person dependent, you know? So I can't remember what the initial question was, you know? Work and self-employment, how the journey is going. The journey's fantastic. And I'm super blessed. I'm super blessed. Let's not take into, like, even if we just add, I mean, I'm not being funny here, chat, either, right? Without you, without the community, full stop, I won't be here, and I will always, always, always be in debt. I don't like debt. You guys know my stance on financial debt. I'm not a massive fan. However, the only debt that I'm willing and excited to have is what I owe you guys, because you guys have given me everything to be able to do everything I've just said. To be clear. And not only in the financial way, but the people that I've met, the people that I get to talk to, and the causes that we've raised money for. I think you guys need to remember that. More so than me. I'm talking the £12,000 for Mind that you guys raised. I'm talking, what was it? At the end, £23,000 for the Rockin' Our Gaming charity. For the Southampton hospital that has had new game carts and repairs on their old game carts. Those things, you guys, and again, this is from you, not saying, oh, look at me, this is what I've done. You guys going above and beyond with the support, which then allowed me to give people devices. So I've given away repaired devices from PlayStation 5s, Nintendo Switches, in the thousands of pounds. And also, thousands of pounds in free repairs. Because of you. Like, I'm not talking about, you know, changing that life aspect from going like full-time work and doing all those things to then having this. I'm not just talking about the financial gain and the freedom gain. I'm talking about the difference that the JDT community has made in the world. That's on its own, that's enough. Chat, am I right? Am I right? What we have done as a community, what you have done to help better the lives of people, and you don't even know it. Techno coming in with their all-time amount of gifted subs, then allowed me to go, do you know what? I don't need this extra cash. Let's do a giveaway. Or, do you know what I mean? Like, just having that is like... And I honestly really hope that I'm able to do the same thing going forward. And if revenue were to ever increase, so would the giving away aspect. Because that is always just a pinch and a reminder that you guys have done that. Do you know what I mean? So when people come along and they actually give something to the stream, or however it may be, tipping, like whatever it is, ultimately you have a knock-on effect of affecting somebody else's life, even if you don't realize it and you don't think you do it. Because a lot of people just say, I just want to support you, Joey. Have some bits, have some gifted subs, have my sub. But actually, it goes further than that. Because then I'm able to pass that goodwill onto someone else and you don't even know it. Do you know what I mean? So well done. Well done, chat, is what I'm saying, basically, for everything that you've done to charity. And just supporting me in general. And I promise I'll continue to try and keep doing that as best I can. Is what I will say. What are we repairing today, boss? I was thinking about doing the hot air gun thing today. I was thinking about doing that. Hydro coming in with a 5 gifted legendary status memberships. To Doug is Big Cole Gamer, John and Jason and Pack. Thank you very, very much, Hydro, for gifting those memberships on YouTube. I appreciate you. Felsia converted the Prime to a tier 1. Yo! Felsia, thank you very much for converting the Prime to a tier 1. I appreciate that. Going from the free sub, essentially, to a tier 1, an actual paid one, is incredible. Thank you. I appreciate that. It's been quite the journey. One of a kind, gentlemen. Yeah, as for what's to come, this is where I, you know, I'm in a bit of limbo. I don't know. I don't know. I think it's also okay to sometimes wriggle your way through life. And when certain opportunities come up and arise, you take them. I don't necessarily think it is 100% important to have goals. I have aspirations and certain targets that I feel like I need to meet to be able to support my family. And sometimes you can't just have fun on the way. Sometimes you actually need to, you know, pull your socks up and support your fam. But if that basis is covered, for me anyway, let's see what happens next. Who knows? I like to think JDT and the legacy of JDT will just live forever, regardless of what happens. Chat, if I quit tomorrow, or God forbid, something happened to me, it won't discredit anything that's been done. And if no more videos got uploaded to JDT, or like, you know, the JDT accounts, what we have achieved in the past 5-6 years, 6 years next month, by the way, 6 years next month. So we'll say 5 years for now. What we've all achieved for the past 5 years will not be like forgotten. It will be there. It will be hit. It's a hit. That's why sometimes I'll upload a video, and I'm going to upload a video soon about 2025 and just going through it. And I know that video will get like 2,000 or 3,000 views. I know it will. And the thumbnail is going to be this. And the title will be 2025 year in review or something. Because actually being able to look back on that, for having my children being able to look back on that as like my content library to go, oh, that's what daddy done in 2025. That's what he achieved. That's how consistent he was. He said he was going to do something and he done it. Having those little videos, even though they're not going to perform, not everything is about metrics and views at the end of the day. You know, leaving that little bit of legacy. I know it might sound really cheesy to some people, and some people are going to be like, Joey, just shut up. But having that legacy there and having all my videos archived as well is obviously very important. I actually need to change all the naming because some of them are just like GJUKSER slamming on, do you know what I mean? So I actually do need to go through them and sort them out, but they'll be on YouTube, and I don't think YouTube's personally going to go anywhere. But yeah, it's the JDT legacy, and I want to try and keep giving as much as I possibly can without stretching myself too thin. So sorry for the rant. I guess you kind of asked, right? You kind of asked. Berry, how are you? I'm good, Symbol. How are you? Came to see repairs. Now I'm crying in the corner. Don't cry. Don't cry, please. Respect your hustle. I was looking today at like other bits and bobs as well. Just like thinking about how to set yourself up financially for the future and everything as well. And I think what I would love to do, and what I feel like a sensible thing to do, is once the mortgage is paid off for the property for my fam, and I don't know if we're, you know, potentially might use that money to then go into our like dream house, or like maybe not even, I guess it would have to be dream house at the age that they are now. But if I said, right, I'm going to try and pay off my mortgage as best I can in the next 5 years, at that point, my children will be like, you know, the 5, 6, 7 range. That's an important age. So I'd like to be kind of settled in a house that is like the family house. That's the kind of first goal. But what I'd also like is I would like maybe just to have like a property company or something. Looking into a bit of that. I don't know. Whatever the future holds, it looks promising. It looks nice. I'm happy. I hope you guys are happy watching the content. But just know, chat, that if it all did end tomorrow, I'm proud of what we have achieved in the past 6 years. That's the last thing I'll say about it. My friend was in IT, and he done really well at property company. Yeah. Michael! Wow.
Great story. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you. No, I massively appreciate that. Wow, coming in with £20 as well. By the way, Michael was the one who asked the question. So, Michael, thank you very much for the £20. I wasn't expecting that. Wow, it's very kind. Thank you. Hi, Joey. Take as much time with your kids as you can. Everything else comes seconds. I completely agree. I completely agree. Which is why, again, I am blessed to be in the situation I'm in, because the amount of time that I've been able to spend with my kids, I feel like should be standard for every father, but circumstances prevent that from happening. I'm in a very lucky position where I'm able to go, do you know what? Today, maybe we could do this. We don't do it often because I still need to earn money, and I don't necessarily take days off. But if my wife says, we need this to happen, or, should we do this? The kids, maybe should we take the kids out here? Yeah, okay, let's do it. Because we're able to at the moment. So, thank you. And I feel like that's one thing. I'm not somebody to brag. It's probably one of the last things I would do. But what I will brag about, and what I will always own and be confident in and be happy with, is that I am here for my children. And I'll own that for the rest of my life. I will look back when I'm 70 years old and I will say, I was there. And I could have been there at like a click of a finger. I was there. That is, I feel like already is my proudest achievement. But I'm trying to envision it in the future. And I feel like the amount of people that say to me, I wish I was there more for my kids. I've had that so instilled in me. And a lot of it is because I personally didn't have a parent who was around much when I was younger. Very in and out of like a relationship with me. So like, I feel like a lot of it comes from that. Nice to hear an update. You deserve it. Hasn't come easy. You work for it, made a difference to a lot of people, both with the charity and a lot of people just being you, myself included. Keep up. Thank you. I appreciate that, Andy. But again, it's a community. It's a joint thing, right? Joint thing. Snap. You always wanted to give your kids the things you never had. Yeah. Do you know what? It's not even. I will say that I didn't go without when I was younger. I'm not sitting here at all saying that I went without. My mum was pretty much single mum bringing me up. She worked a full-time job, and she wanted to ensure that she owned her own house. She had a lot of fight in her, and she was able to do that. My mum, as a single parent, was able to provide not only for myself but for my sister, as well as have a full-time job and own a property. So when I say we went without, we didn't go without. We went. I'm talking like I didn't have all the latest consoles, and but I had food on the table, good food. I had love in the house, which is very important. Andy Ace, thank you very much for the Prime for 2 months in a row. I appreciate you. When I get older, like, was she perfect? If I look back on it and think, was she? No, but who is? She was as perfect as she could have been. I know that in terms of single mum, she was probably like 99.9% percentile, in the sense of, or maybe like the 1 percentile. I don't know which way around it is. But she just had a lot of determination, a lot of grit, a lot of fight, and she never gave up. And she actually retires this year So she, I don't think she's really going to know what to do with herself, to be honest. But yeah, so I feel like a lot of my keeping myself in check with children comes from, and it will do, right? Because that's what people say. It comes from your own experience. You know what I mean? Now you guys definitely have to stay with my family when you come to Toronto so I can give you a great big hug. Really enjoy your content. I hope you are well. Avidly watching the attempt to repair the laptop you worked on. I hope it gets sorted. Oh, so if you do exclamation mark JFix Arachnoid, have a look. There's actually 2 parts. JFix bought the laptop from me. It's over there. That's crazy. Your mum is wonderful. She done an incredible job. Our situation is pretty similar. Yeah. Everyone has different situations, different experiences. But yeah, I'm not saying I went without, because I didn't. And I feel like the conversation I had with my mum a lot is like she thinks that we did go without. From her perspective and being an adult, I can see how she went without. But for me, as a child, I did not go without. And I said that to her. I didn't. She knows that. I didn't go without. I had everything. I had everything I could have possibly wanted as a kid. I think she did tell me that we moved. I think we moved. I could be wrong with this number, but I think it was 7 times in 1 year. We did move 7 times in 1 year because of rental situations when I was very young. And she was trying to land the job that, you know, that she wanted. We had to move 7 times in a year. So there was a lot of like moving around and bits and bobs, always in the same place, I guess, the same city, but yeah. So, but she's like, I feel like with her, she's like, oh, I never got to give you the big holidays. But we went on our holidays. A holiday doesn't matter if it was abroad or not. I done a couple of trips to Lanzarote, Malta. You know what I mean? It's in her mind. I feel like she done nothing, but in certain ways. But yeah. Coming from a person who had the same, big up to single mums that worked hard to put our needs first. Yeah. I think maybe that could be, if I lean into maybe some more charity stuff, I think that could be pretty cool as like a personal thing as well, you know. I don't know if there are any charities for like single mums. There must be. But not from my experience, I guess, because I wasn't necessarily massively affected because I don't know what I missed out on because it didn't happen. But maybe there could be some charity stuff that applies to single mums, and that could be like a good thing to do, you know. Just again trying to make some sort of impact in some way. Joey, do you sell on eBay apart from profit or loss series? Not really, no. Yeah, single dads as well. Yeah, I'm peripherals. I'm just kind of like, I'm talking about my current situation and relating to that, if that makes sense. I will say I can't even begin to imagine a single dad situation. I can't. I think of like having 2 children, how much my wife does, and I think it's one of those situations, isn't it, where you'd have to cope. You have no option. You have to cope. However, everything goes out the window. Everything. So like, yeah. Berber, thank you. I appreciate that. Welcome. Pardon me. Always going to be the local churches that have that info for that joy. Yeah. Yeah. I think a lot of single parents struggle when it comes to uniform purchasing and school supplies. Maybe do something around that. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Right. Well, food for thought and like thinking about all those things, right? Adiace, I don't know. Adiace, I don't know if I said thank you. Did I say thank you for your Prime for 2 months or did I just completely ignore you? Did I completely ignore you, Adi? I'm really sorry if I did. I must have been just in such a train of thought. Thank you. I appreciate you. Right. Should we do this then? You're probably thinking, Joe, what are you gonna do? I'm gonna roll the video of a hot air station. And you might be like, Joey, wait, hot air station? What's going on? I'm gonna test my abilities and my skills with a cheap hot air station. Actually, it could be in response. I kind of want to watch. Guys, right, I know it sounds really silly. I've just come up with an idea. I don't know how copywriting and stuff works on YouTube. However, I saw somebody talk to me about Jay's 2 cents. Jay's 2 cents apparently tried to desolder a 12-volt connector on a graphics card on a GPU. Am I right? I was thinking about maybe we could watch it. I've not seen it. One in the chat if you want to watch that quickly. It falls under free use. Maybe, yeah, potentially. I don't know. I don't know how it works. We'll see, because I'm doing the live streaming aspect, so I think the live streaming aspect is okay. I even think if it was like a reaction that I then uploaded to YouTube, I think it would be okay as long as my cam and stuff was on it and I was commenting and doing all those things over it. If that makes sense. I left a message to watch you. Should we watch it, chat?
That's going to be going. You're probably going to hear the fan.
Should we watch it? Not cool without asking him first. Plus, it wouldn't even be that good as content, in my opinion. Oh, so you don't want me to watch it? If I'm being honest with you, it's not even to critique. I'm not looking to critique because I don't know what the outcome is anyway. Apparently it's a grey area. If you make it, they could get you in trouble if you comment too. Probably not. No, but I'm not watching it to kind of critique. I'm just interested to watch. Another content creator in the space trying to do the job that I do. Saying that, my take would actually be invalid anyway because I've never done it. I've never done it. I've never taken a 12-volt connector off a GPU. So my opinion can get stuff, really. But I kind of want to watch it. I'll skip through. And I won't necessarily like watch the whole thing because I think a lot of people have seen it already. But I'll give it a quick watch. Because I'm intrigued.
And
I'll skip through.
But I moved it in here, that way this wall isn't so boring. Vazi. Vase.
First off, let me say, I love Jay's 2 cents. And I think what he's done in terms of like YouTube and everything and his business is absolutely incredible. And I feel like he's a good person from what I've seen. A really good person.
A lot of you are not going
I just want to get that out of the way.
to care about this content. I'm okay with that. But
Indy with a 5 gifted. Lord, the glove above on a dove. Where's that come from? What on earth? 15 total gifted subs now, Indy. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. It's very, very kind of you. Thank you. Indy coming in with 5 gifted subs to Supreme, Ruben, Liam, Teabag, and Roland. Thank you very much for the 5 gifted. I appreciate you. Thank you. Just keep in mind, he's not a board level technician. No, I know. Yeah, from the videos that I've seen from Jay, he's a PC guy, right? It's 2 completely different things. It's 2 completely different skill sets. I can't even begin to imagine if he's trying to desolder a 12-volt connector from a GPU that is an incredibly thick board. I've got an idea of how it's going to go because even I would struggle, and I've been doing this for 5 years. I've not done it, and I think my method, I think I'd know how to do it, but I can only begin to imagine how difficult this is going to be. I also saw that Northwest Repair made a video on how to do it, so I'm assuming I know how this goes, is what I'm saying.
I like to share what I'm working on. I've been using some pretty cheap, janky Amazon type stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the stuff that I recommend as well, isn't it? The janky stuff. What's he got? 853A. That's a desoldering station. And he's gone for a 948D. Are these Yahoo models?
It's nice. Bucks, whatever it was. Really nice.
So this is like unboxing some new tools on it as well. Oh.
That's just because of bad technique and improper to get it off.
Oh, wait, was that him?
Or TI. I have completely mangled the board trying to get it off with too much heat.
Yeah, so the heat smelt of the plastic. I'm gonna go ahead and assume. First things first, by looking at that, the heat's kind of been a bit more, a bit stagnant. So he's kind of kept it very, very still. Because if you do that and you don't disperse the heat and move the heat around in a relatively quick sort of motion, you're going to get the burnt plastic.
Just because of bad technique and impress repair. You know, when it's like Jay.
Can I just say as well, guys, do you know how much it actually takes? Jay probably doesn't even realize this himself. But you know how I always go on about how, like, owning your mistakes? The fact that he's recorded this and put it up as a video, sure, he's obviously earning from the video, of course. However, the humiliation of doing it, like, there's a certain word that I'm trying to look for here, but just being able to, like, admit your mistakes and not necessarily care about it and put it out is huge. It's like me when it comes to the stuff I mess up, and I'm like, thing is, if I do it as well, people learn from that. Do you know what I mean? So it's a win-win for everybody because he's going to get a few people telling him or giving advice on like how he should do it. So therefore Jay learns, but then he's also taking thousands of other people on this journey who are potentially looking at getting into this and going, oh, I didn't realize it was actually that hard. Or it's too late and they've already done it and they've seen how it actually goes.
You make bending tubing look so easy.
And they go, oh, it's nice to see Jay actually not do very well at it because then at least I'm in that same sort of category. Because sometimes I'm guilty for it. As you know, I'm guilty for making it look easier than what it is. People come in here all the time and they say, Joey, why did you not tell me it's so difficult? Or why do you not have a disclaimer? I've had people ask why I don't have a disclaimer on every single video that says, this is tough, this is difficult.
Everyone bubbles their tubing or it gets all temps loose.
So let's again just fast forward because I don't want to bore you guys in the sense that if you've watched this video already, you know, to
where when I heat it up, every pin wiggles, but I cannot get it all evenly heated to where they're all soft enough for me to pull it out. Mostly because of the main standoffs.
Are just because they're going to be thick ground. It's going to be thick ground. It'd be the last ones to come loose, and for the solder to liquefy. I wonder if he used any unleaded solder. So if he mixed any unleaded. If he mixed any leaded to bring down the melting temperature, or whether he just tried to get it out with the factory solder on the board.
So thick. So I'm hoping the desoldering gun will help with that.
So he's got a desoldering gun. I think same sort of problem if he's not touched the solder on the board. If it's unleaded solder on a thick PCB like a GPU, I'm going to reference this the same as like doing a HDMI port on an Xbox Series X, because those boards, when I tell you they're thick, boy.
But that's what this is. This is a... Look, I hear a lot of electrician repair people saying preheat boards are dumb. Funny, because I hear a lot of professional solderers. Solderers, is that a term? I don't...
Solderers. Yeah, I like it. Solderers, I like it.
No, professional electrician repair people saying preheat boards are dumb. If you know what you're doing and you know how to heat the board properly with a heat gun, you don't need a preheat board. But the problem for me is because I'm still slow, sometimes I need that heat retained in the board because I need time to work on it. And yeah, and I know keeping heat in the...
Those people who say that, by the way, are probably 25 years experience down the line and know how to work a hot air gun. Do you see what I'm saying? They're probably 25 years worth of experience. If you said to somebody who's never touched soldering before or a hot board, and you said, you need to get this connector out, should I, if I have the option to, put it on a preheater at 250 degrees Celsius to get the board up to a good temp so then I can come in and solder? Or should I just do it grabbing it cold and it's been sat in a room and it's 20 degrees? You're going to say, well, if you have it, heat it up because it's going to make your life 30 times easier. You know what I mean?
Board for too long can cause damage. So I'm just trying to figure this all out. But right now we're going to sort of unbox this together. This connector.
So this is just like the unboxing stuff.
Not the right answer because of how hot it got. That connector is pretty high temp. Mm-hmm. So what having the proper board, especially when we're dealing with like, but doesn't get the board up off the hot plate. That's honestly excited for this. I think a lot of the professionals though are like, that's stupid, don't bother. But I think
there's nothing wrong with buying a preheat station at all. At all. Like I said, I mean, I've worked with a preheating station and without. When I worked at Rocket Repairs, he had this big preheating station. Getting ports off was 1,000 times easier. 1,000 times easier. Because he used to have like the preheating station, and then next to the preheating station, he'd have a hot air gun. So you literally just cook the board to a certain extent, 150, 200 degrees Celsius, the board once it got up to temp. And then you come in over the top with the hot air gun, and it would literally plop off. I'm talking Series X's, I'm talking any boards, PS5, Series X's, whatever. And it would have been the same. I didn't work on GPUs at the shop, but I'm assuming it would be the exact same scenario.
Something, because I want to build a wall, like a built-in myself, electrical or soldering, the comment section are so much more toxic than even ours. Do you know why?
Whoa.
Cabinet building, because I want to build a wall, like a built-in myself. The comments on these types of videos are the worst.
Do you know what's really funny? Do you know what's so funny? I've had hand on hands, like I've had both aspects. I've had micro soldering repair community and PC building, PC repair community. Live stream. And comments, I guess. I would personally say I get so much more flack when it comes to PC repairs than soldering. Even when I had no idea how to solder or how to repair things using a soldering iron or hot air gun, the community for me, I'm not trying to divide communities, by the way, at all in any way, shape or form. I'm just saying based from like my experience, the micro soldering repair community has always been amazing. There's always going to be one or two people. PC repairs, when you go and hot swap a PCIe capture card on a motherboard, I got blasted, like literally, and we have to take everything into context. It was like a Dono motherboard and all sorts of bits and bobs. I understand now, especially, that it wasn't wise, but the language that came across from PC repairs and PC builders, oh my gosh, everything was all caps, everything. But when I've like messed up a soldering job or a repair job, it's kind of like, lol, like we can go again sort of thing. So like for me, the two communities, when it comes to PC building and PC upgrading, they are the much more judgmental and vocal about you doing something wrong, in my experience. But maybe Jay's used to that because of the PC. That's the whole business, right? Potentially.
Doesn't matter if it's drywall or stucco or flooring or framing or electrical or soldering, the comment section are so much more toxic than even ours. Do you know why? Because the way a tradesman feels good about himself is making other tradesmen look like shit.
I agree that happens a lot. I agree that I can see why, yeah, it does happen a lot. Somebody with 30, 40 years experience. There are gems out there who have that experience, but they're actually willing to teach and, you know, be friendly about it. But there are a lot of people, I'd say probably majority, who have the experience, and to do something, you have to do it their way. There's no other way. There's not 1,000 different ways to do something. It's their way or that's it. So I do understand that. But there are, again, for me in the soldering and micro soldering community and repair community, I've had a better share of people that are more willing to teach than be all stuck up about it personally. But you only also see that through the comments. So people who don't comment and don't share that information might be sat there saying, I'm not going to help this guy. But you know what I mean? It is what it is.
You know what? Just let your talent speak for itself. You don't have to put everyone down around you. And if you're a tradesman,
I could not agree more, man. Like, you don't need to put other people down.
that's ever gone into a video and been like, that method is crap. I'm sorry, your attitude's crap.
I agree.
So here is the heater element right there. It's on off right here. It's like 300.
£300 for that.
I did watch a video on this thing. It's not the
That looks Yahoo, by the way.
best.
The same sort of font they've got.
It's like $300. It's definitely not the most expensive. It's warm heater to help, or the one can't do it. The best, like the
He's got a ring light for the
best
scope.
upgrade I can do to my
It should have been a Paul Daniels ring light. It should have been a Paul Daniels one. Lord the glove.
camera.
And he's just, I'm pretty sure Paul Daniels has just revised like is a much better ring light as well, where it's got a little bit of an angle and the LEDs are really bright, you know?
A microscope right now. That is a microscope
I thought it said what I thought it said then.
camera. I'm gonna be honest.
I mean, I'm going to go ahead and assume that looks very similar to my Tomlov and my Anden Star. I'm pretty sure Elikliv and Tomlov and Anden Star share a lot of the same build quality. What did he say?
To my camera and microscope right now. That is a microscope and camera. I'm gonna be honest. But
you can definitely get the job done with a microscope and camera like that. But what you're then training is probably experience, I would say. For reference, I've always worked with these scopes.
That is a
always,
microscope
always.
and camera.
But I also don't know the quality of what this is. It might be 240p or 140p, you know?
I'm gonna be honest. But I didn't want to spend another like $500 on one right now.
Yeah, they're
until
expensive.
I at least, because it's good enough.
Yeah.
To allow me to see bigger and to start to get the technique down. But I really want to start being able to do our own, and then glare is gone. If you take your phone screen, rainbowy color look to it, that's see through the polarized, it'll be such a on there. The idea with low temp solder is,
Ooh,
it melts at a lower temp.
okay, I was
It
wrong
melts at
then.
183 C. That's pretty low. That's only
So that's going to be leaded. That's not going to be low melt, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure that's going to be leaded.
it melts at 180 effective. That's why the board and the hot air gun
I could be wrong.
melted. Hot air gun melted the board and obviously the connector. So I completely fucked this one up. But that's okay, because I'd rather learn on this than my 5090. That's why I didn't do it that way. But
Facts. Facts.
Hi Joey, would you
Hello.
like my Yahoo 948i for free?
Clifford, I mean, I'm okay. Thank you. I really appreciate it. What I will say is if it's something that you're looking to give out, I'm happy for you to host the giveaway on the Discord channel. So if you think that somebody else could benefit from it, Clifford, where are you from? Because depending on your country, I wouldn't want you to have to ship worldwide. So like we could do a giveaway based in your country if you were happy to do that. I would not take any responsibility, but I will happily host it if you are wanting to give it to somebody for free. Thank you very much for the £2 super chat. I appreciate it.
But anyway, you mix low temp solder with high temp solder.
Yeah. Yep.
And then what it effectively does is lowers the melting point of the high temp solder. The stuff that they make in the factories like this.
For someone who doesn't know or hasn't had much experience in it, the research that he's done to attempt this is already 10x what anybody else has done with this sort of skill level. I I didn't know about the difference of types of solder until about a year after I was soldering. Already leaps and bounds ahead.
Solder melting point is extremely high. In fact, it's way higher than like even my consumer grade stuff can go. So you use a low temp solder to make sure that you bring the solder temp down. That way you can get the joints loose and then work on the part. The downside is when you resolder something like that with consumer grade stuff, it's never going to be as strong or as high
And those GPUs run hot.
temp as the factory. But what's better? Have a lower temp joint that is still fine in our use case with a product that can work again, or having it be dead because we like didn't use the high temp solder. All right.
Well, what you could do fundamentally there is remove that solder after you've taken the connector off, right? So I'm assuming then what he's going to try and do is he's going to try and take the connector out and then just go ahead and place another connector in without swapping the solder. Because you could argue that you could just put unleaded back on the board, and if the board has enough heat and you use, you know, a hot air gun and a soldering iron, you could put unleaded back on to make it stronger effectively. But I use leaded, and I think my leaded, I don't know temps. I'm going to say my leaded probably melts at around about, it's got to be 200 degrees Celsius or so. Maybe even higher. And if the board around that specific area is getting 200 degrees, you've got a much bigger problem on your hands than that happening.
This, though, to be honest, is...
I don't want a spoiler. No, I don't want a spoiler. I want to be proved wrong, or I want to sound like an idiot before I watch it. That's what I want.
Most excited about. You can take a fast race an average driver can.
Oh, it's Yahuwah. It is Yahuwah. I thought so because of the font.
Way, and then you can adjust these right here. It's got a
desoldering gun. Too. I don't actually have one. I don't have a desoldering gun. Is that solder in it?
Okay. I got a lot to learn. But
so do I.
That's right. Pull the solder right out.
I'm going to assume this ain't going to work. Because desoldering guns aren't magic. And it's very, very tough, especially on something as thick as what a graphics card would be, to just plain old take solder out even when the board is preheated with a desoldering gun. I could be wrong. And again, I might end up eating my words, and I might learn something from this very video.
So then I can just one by one get the solder to remove itself, and then I could take the connector out. So I'm going to try and do anyway. Something else that this has too, which is really interesting, is it has a suction cup pen. So it's not...
If you don't practice and you don't learn and you don't fail, how are you ever going to expect to get better?
Not that I'm going to be doing it, but if I...
So everything he's doing right now, from what he's displaying and talking about in this video, is 100% spot on.
We're going to be in place where I want and place it rather than trying to use tweezers. Now, like I said, totally discolored the chip. But I also replaced that one after learning. And that one you would never even know. Perfectly
That looks factory. That doesn't look like it's being soldered.
aligned and everything. Whether or not it works, I have no idea. The board's dead. It was already dead. So...
Wait, he took a RAM chip and soldered that onto a board? For somebody with like no experience and no know-how? Better than me.
This would help.
Lord of Glove.
Get it in place. The tweezers suck trying to get that on there, especially when you reball the joint. This would allow me to get it right where I want it. Everything by the girthiness of
that looks like an at.
That
looks like an at an ST862D, the hose.
Rework.
Is that Yahuwah?
Guns.
Nice.
Hose. Strong. And not only lower,
hold on.
Feel like joint.
Let me get some context.
This would allow me to get it right where I want it. Every time I look at a soldering video, I feel like a technician's skill is measured directly by the girthiness of the reworked guns hose.
It's very true. It's very true. It's very true.
Look how many.
Yeah.
Look at that. So in the cheap guns, the heater element and the blower and everything is inside the gun.
Yeah.
And this is pretty weak.
That's what I'm going to hopefully be doing today.
Like it's not very strong. And I don't mean by...
But I'm pretty sure, guys, Tony uses this, right? And by the way, we're talking, for those who don't know Tony, I'm referencing the god of GPU repair.
I don't mean by it.
I'm pretty sure he uses one of these.
It's like ability to move air, because I do have volume control and all that, or not volume, but speed control and temperature control on it. It's just not very consistent. And it's pretty cheap.
Northwest Repair.
Quality, because everything has to fit into here. And then this is just an electrical cable, as you can see. These are all so thick. A little bit more heat instead of more allows me to heat.
Okay. Tweezers.
I was expecting. Back right here. You can see the
Oh, is that the heater?
Control for each.
Or is that the station? What on earth? It's like an all-in-one situation, hey? An all-in-one station. Wow.
Get rid of all that shit and get this over there in some bit, trying to figure it out. Using the anti-glare light.
Okay, hold on. Here we go.
Also, too, the anti-glare light. Using the. Okay, so this is the practice board. I've got everything set up. I've been here for a bit trying to figure it out. Using the desolder gun. Don't know why I didn't get one of these a long time ago. Also, too, the anti-glare lens. That's what I was used to seeing with all the flux and stuff. But man, the anti-glare light.
That's nice. That's really nice. It makes a big difference. Makes a huge difference.
What is that? Polarized lens on there is so nice. So you can see I've already got some of the solder removed on some of these. Some of these I didn't get enough low temp in there.
The thing is, like, so he's gonna really struggle on the ground, on the thick ground ones, like these ones. These ones are gonna be super tough.
So I got to do it again, but let's see if I can get it to like this top left one right here to let go. So the gun is up to temp. I've got the low temp solder in there. Hold it against the.
What did I see board was at? 160? Or the board heater? Did I see 160? So the board itself won't be at that temperature. The board might be at, like, depending on the station, right? It might be at 110, 120.
The joint, kind of rock it around. You probably can't hear it because of the fan. I hear like a squealing sound, almost like a Leidenfrost effect sound. That tells me I'm melting the solder. And then hit the pump.
Oh, this is the moo.
Can actually hear it getting sucked up in there. Yeah, and it's desoldered. So
wow,
this is so much better than a solder sucker pen, like the little plunger type, because I just push a button and a pump pulls constantly.
A little more expensive, but
exactly
definitely better.
The prettiest.
You got it out.
But I got it out. There's.
I'm impressed that you got it out. I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting there to be a plethora of things going wrong. You got it out. No rip traces, right? I can see there's a little bit of copper that's been exposed next to where the traces are, but you got it out. I'm curious to see what happened with this ground leg down here in the bottom right. I'm curious to see what happened there. Did he knock some components here as well? He said this is the practice board, right?
Still some solder in.
Oh, this might be the practice board.
There.
Connector removal on practice.
I could honestly just wick that out. So in that standoff,
you've done a good job getting out.
Still a little bit up there.
Look.
Need to do. I mean, they're fairly open, but they're not perfectly. It looks like a war zone. It looks like a Battlefield 6 map on my solder suck, or use my sucker tool or my desoldering gun. But that was my second attempt, with the exception of maybe a tiny bit of solder still in that hole out of the through hole. And then the underside. Look at that. A lot of components down there. But I did this differently. And I didn't use my board heater. I just rewatched Northridge Fix's video again of him showing him removing it. And I just did it with the rework station heat, flux, low temp solder, and then obviously got it to where every
Are you telling me this is the board that he's actually meant to remove it from?
That's melted into there because I've had so much heat and flux on there for too long. But that was my second attempt.
Now I skipped over this. It's great. It's clean. Really clean.
The other board I said I was going to give it a shot at. And look at that. That, with the exception of maybe a tiny bit of solder still in that hole.
Yeah, like little bits of exposed copper. Like, you can't be picky with this.
Right there.
This is great.
That one.
It might make his job a little bit tougher trying to get the connector in. So we'll need to clear this.
All the solder out of the through holes.
Yeah.
Look at that. That is clean. So
I'm telling you right now, some of the stuff I've seen from professionals who have repair shops couldn't do a job like that. And they've been doing it for years. And years and years and years.
That's
with probably a lot better tools.
That side.
How do I know that? Because stuff like that has been sent to me. I've had to then deal with stuff after the fact.
And then the underside. Look at that.
That's
a lot of components down there. But I did this differently. And I didn't.
And he says about the
I used a very clean onboard. That pin got all crooked right there because I was shoving my tweezers in there to try and yank it out. Now,
that's the hardest part, when you have to navigate your tweezers whilst everything's all hot, because that is when, like, it's not only just normal dexterity. It's like dexterity times 10 because you're worried about the heat, prolonging the heat on the board, worrying about burning stuff, worrying about burning your hands. So like trying to then have the dexterity to take a connector off whilst the board is 400 degrees or whatever it is tough, really tough.
That's me, but I got a glob of solder to even stick to the plastic, which I think is hilarious. I was gonna see if I could take this out and then replace it. This is perfectly working board. I'm perfectly good. I think just the amount of the hot workstation notch. This notch allows the heat to hit the plug. Now the other boards are
That's why you have to move it around. I wonder if
solid up here because they're reversed. So this honestly, or should theoretically now, just easily see. Oh yeah, look at that. That can actually, yep.
wow.
Oh. And then if I flip this over, those are all ready to get. So I feel confident now to give this a shot on my mods on that, but the last thing I do still firmly believe is because that melted connector.
Guys, this is up there in terms of difficulty when it comes to actually removing and replacing components. I'm telling you, it's nowhere near, I'd say, like trace repair, because that's just like another dimension of like dexterity and everything. But in terms of how thick the board is, I know he's now got some extra tools which has really helped, but like how clean that removal is amazing. It's a really difficult job to take this connector off and put it back on or put a new one on. It is really, really difficult.
Connector started to melt, which broke contact with that one pin.
I'd love to start a series, man, of teaching people with no experience and seeing how they actually get on with certain tools, whether that be in person or even over calls and stuff. I'd love to have that as a series, you know, like teach people how to actually solder, to make people kind of understand the skill that's involved.
Because plastic kind of got
Garbage,
infused on
welcome.
it, and if we know what the Astro boards, because the individual plane sense monitor power, the board will not fire on. Give this the old college dropout try. Okay, you know, I look at it this way, as long as I don't cause any board damage, which as you can see on this one, there is no board damage on that. Very proud of that. I can always have someone bail me out.
I'm not being funny as well, right? It's not a customer repair. This is his own device. He does what he wants. If he messes up the board, like say for example, he just knocked off 1,000 components off that board. Well, guess what? Do you know how much better you're going to be as a technician by now having to go through and replace all of those components? You're going to learn. This is not a customer board where he's, you know, somebody's paying him as a service to fix the device. He can do what he wants to this
If
board.
it comes to that. All right, so I fucking give up. Oh man, I'm just gonna have Northridge do it. I don't understand, like.
Come on, Jay, listen. You've got this. You just need to take time away and come back to it, because these sessions, if you spent hours and hours and hours or even 30 minutes trying to like do this, it can destroy you mentally. It can. But what you need to do is just take a break right now, focus on something else, and then potentially come back to it.
It's just there's more layers in this board.
It's a thick board.
More
yeah.
beefy. I don't know. I mean, you can see.
I wonder if this is his soldering iron being an issue. Being
You
an
can
issue.
see right there, it started to damage the surface of the board. I was using clearly a lot of heat, but it didn't.
This looks like what's going on. I'm trying to work out what's going on. So he didn't try and hot air it back in, right? He's just trying to solder the pins to the board.
Pins are loose, but that one's loose. Right?
Let's see.
The sense pins are technically loose. I cannot figure out why I was able to so easily on the other board get it out. I couldn't even get the little standoffs out here. So
wait. Oh, so this is the actual board. Oh, I'm an idiot. I told you at the start of this I was going to make myself to sound out like an idiot. That's fine. I'm okay with that. This is the actual board. Okay.
The word quit is not in my vocabulary. So anytime I have to quit,
it's tough mentally.
Something
Really
before
is.
I cause more damage, it absolutely triggers
I've been in this position so many times when it comes to soldering.
me, and
It's really tough.
this sucks because I spent another like $1,200 on soldering stuff, and I still can't replace a fucking connector. So just extremely frustrating. I mean, I've used the low temp solder, I used the solder desolder tool, I've used the different tips, I've used fucking everything. So I just give up. As much as I hate to do that, that's just where we're at. So I could not get.
Jay didn't use low mount, he used leaded. There would be quite, yeah, the leaded being at about 180, I think is leaded at 180 degrees. However, I mean, he's quite close as well, right? I need to see it again, but maybe he's not too close on like the ground ones, but leaded low melt solder could have potentially been a difference here, but let's see. Because you could, with low melt solder as well, you need to really let that sink through the board and mix with the solder. So somebody who doesn't have much experience might also really struggle with that, because you think that just putting it on the board was enough. But actually you need to make sure that the board has taken all of that solder and mixed it throughout all of the layers, even to the other side. And how you'd usually go about that on a thick board like this is, even if you had it on a preheater, come in with the hot air over the top and a soldering iron, and just use the hot air gun to assist you with the soldering iron itself, just to make sure that it all goes through.
Row, which is right here, to melt at all, at all. And the board was hot. I even started using my heater and preheated the shit out of it with the rework station. So I do not know why I could not get. I have no idea why I couldn't get it to melt and mix with the low temp. I was able to do it just fine on.
I reckon, looking at that, it's like he said, and he knows it. It's just, it sounds like it's not mixed properly with the solder that's all the way through the board.
The 12-volt row.
I'm wondering if I'm going to go ahead and assume, because he's used the terminology for it as well. I wonder if he has used flux here to help that solder flow and work with the old solder. I wonder if flux has been used.
Except for the top left one, that one right there, you can see I used a lot of heat to try and get that one loose, but I could not get that side to let go no matter what I did. It's like if I put more solder in there, it just would flow through the hole and then just start flowing down the pin rather than getting to the side that was still stuck. And I tried multiple times to heat it, pull it out. I just could not get it to mix. And then the ground row, as you can see, I could not get to mix at all.
It doesn't look like he's used flux. Maybe I've missed it, but it doesn't look like he's used flux here.
Which would make sense as to why I couldn't get the post to mix, because I clearly never got the actual board where I needed it hot enough. But it was hot enough to where it was starting to scratch off the coating right there.
I wonder if flux, again, this magic word. And for those who don't know what flux is the magical stuff that helps solder flow. It's as simple as that. It's the simplest way of saying what it is. But I think it acts as I'm going to probably get the word wrong here, an abrasive, which kind of cleans the joints to allow then solder to mix better.
I mean, that's superficial. It'll still work with that damage right there. You can see the copper layer under there.
That's fine, because that whole trace is going to be going to this pin. That's fine.
The only thing
that little bit of copper is like a red herring.
I think is this board is a lot heavier, so it just must have a really beefy ground plane. And rather than just throwing more heat at it and then knocking off some other surface-mounted, any of these diodes and these resistors and such.
Which, by the way, I will just throw in a comment here, is really tough to do unless you knock them with your tweezers. And I've proved that on a load of videos that I've done. You can go, well, I'm going to caveat this and say with my hot air gun. I use this at full pelt, 99% airflow, 480 degrees Celsius. And if I just put this on a board, even really, really close to components, it's going to be difficult to knock those components off because of the surface tension with the solder, even when it melts, because that solder is holding that component to the board. However, if you come along with your tweezers and you ever so slightly knock those components, see you later, they're gone. So it's really, really hard to actually knock components off without touching the board and just using hot air, is what I'll caveat that with.
I'm just going to let an expert do it. I've watched his video a million times on how he takes it off, and I've tried the same technique. He doesn't say it's the temperatures and stuff. Maybe.
I wonder if Alex from Northridge Fix would maybe even be better off by saying, Jay, if you want to, I'm not going to say at least because that makes me sound like I'm insulting Jay, but if you want to give this a go yourself, if you've had that time away now and you're willing to give it just one last try, let's jump in a call, because I'm sure that Jay's going to have some equipment that can at least set Alex up with like being able to view and see what's going on. Or Northwest Repair, yeah, whoever. Just someone jump on a call with Jay and have it set up so that somebody can just instruct him on what to do and go from there. Because I guarantee you, I'm very confident that even the way that Jay's handled this, I'm sure he'll be able to do it.
Maybe my flux is wrong. Maybe he's the wrong kind of flux.
Oh, so he has used flux here.
I don't know. I mean, I've used this Quim Tech stuff, which, by the way,
I've never seen. What in the vape juice is that?
it advertises as no clean. Bullshit. I mean,
No flux is no clean, really. No flux is no clean.
look up here in the corner. Like, this up here is so, it's like...
Oh, is that the flux?
Look at that.
Is that honey?
It's so gross. And alcohol is just, and a brush is not touching it. It just, but that's my fault. It's been on there too long and it just starts to get like melt.
I really, really want to take a connector off the board now of a GPU. I really want to take that connector off a board on a GPU to see what it's like, because I've never done it. I really want to do it. Chat, what do we think? Should I try and take that connector off a GPU? Because I can talk you through exactly what I'm trying to do to get it off. I don't know if that's what you guys want to see, but I definitely have a donor board or two of GPUs that I could potentially just give this a go with a cheap air gun. I could do it with a cheap hot air gun. I could do. Unless you have a 40 series, I don't see a point. Really? I do, because, I mean, it's the same. Even though it's not a 40 series card, I'm sure that GPUs are pretty thick anyway. It's way thicker. That connector is for the 40 and 50 series. Same principle though. Right?
And then it just hardens. So I try and clean that off. But like I said, I'm going to send these boards over.
Do I have a 40 series? No. I've got that. Oh no, I sold that 30 series. Hey. Yeah, I don't have a 40 series or 50 series.
I have two boards, two connectors. I need to order another connector. I can replace the other one myself. I don't need him to do that. Once I get that connector in, I can do those solder joints. Removing this is incredibly frustrating. Like,
so wait, I missed this, didn't I? I missed this. So because I think I was just skipping through. So this is a 5090. What were the donor boards? What GPUs were the donor boards?
go no matter what I did. It's like if I put more rather than getting to the side that was makes sense as to why I couldn't get the post to mix, because I clearly never got the actual board where I needed it. You can see the copper stuff, which by the way, advertised. It's been on there too. Removing this.
So he's used flux. He's definitely used flux as well.
Incredibly frustrating. Very, very, very frustrated. And
yeah.
I'm trying it, but really frustrating. Like I'm actually quite angry right now. I know I'm not showing it, but
I can tell in the complexion, honestly, because I've been there so many times. I'm
very, very, very frustrated. Mm-hmm. And I'm trying to do it right. I'm trying to use the right tools. I'm looking up techniques. I'm doing research. I've tried the wicking method. I've tried it all. And none of it fucking works. It's like, how can I have so much heat in the board, things start to like show damage, but the solder still won't let go? You can say, well, Jay, you don't have the heat in the right spot. Well, I have the board hot, and that's what has to happen. Alex says himself, solder will not melt, like the solder in the board will not melt until the board is the temperature at which solder melts. So the reason why you use low temp solder is to mix it with the leaded solder to reduce the melting temperature. And clearly I've gotten that to work on the other board. It's just, I think the ground plane on the 5090 Astral is just so beefy.
Yeah, there's no point in me doing it, is there? Because he's using a really beefy board. If he's done a 4090, if he's successfully, or a 48, if he's successfully done the connector on one of them, clearly this board is just thicker, right?
I don't have the technique to overcome the wicking of the heat away from it, even though I had the board heater on and I had the board heated to 100 Celsius. So that's it. I give up. It's words I don't like to use. If you guys want to give some critiques, go ahead. I mean,
what I really hope I see here is the comments being supportive, man. I really hope I see that, and I hope I don't go through and see, I told you this, I told you that.
I know people are gonna be like, don't send it off, keep practicing. I don't feel like practicing on a $3,500 or $3,300 board, and two of them.
It's very true, isn't it? It's very true. I kind of forgot it was a 5090 when I was like, yeah, you can just give it another go. Yeah.
I have another one that I need to remove the connector from. So
yeah.
Oh well, that's it. Thanks for watching, guys. I will absolutely listen to all of your constructive techniques down below. The constructive ones. Any of the "you're stupid, you're doing it wrong," you
hide them from the channel.
Off with those kinds of comments, and I have already.
What I don't understand, right, is some of the swear words in this are bleeped and some of them aren't. Is there like a, I don't know, is there like a quota per video or something?
I talked about that in the beginning of this video. If there's one thing trades experts love to do is put everyone down so they make their own take look better, and we don't do that around here. All right.
And that just needs to not happen. Like, it just should never be business practice, in my opinion.
Okay, I'm gonna clean this board off more, try and get more of this crap off of here. And I guess the first thing I need to know is, what's y'all's go-to flux? I've even seen water-soluble flux. I know that's not what that is. So I'm at a loss. All right, see you guys in the next one.
Do you know what? First things first, right? First things first. Jay will never see this, but he needs to really be aware that this job is super, super difficult, especially with somebody with not much experience. Like, for somebody who has experience in this field, like I said, I've been doing this now for coming up to 6 years, and everything's documented on my YouTube channel. I started from nothing. I started not knowing how to repair a single device to where I am now. I worked in a repair shop, quit my job, went to do that. And then even now, I would struggle doing what he's doing. And I'm not even, I could turn around, he's beating himself up. He is 100% beating himself up. But you also have to understand, like, depending on what type of person you are, you can't get around that. I'd beat myself up. Because I'd be annoyed and I'd say, I've been doing this for 6 years and I'm not able to, do you know what I mean? So, like, first things first, he needs to give himself some credit and give himself some slack, because you can't be that hard on yourself when this is not what you do. You can't. It's, you know what I mean? It's just one of those things. Even if he had years of experience, it's going to be a really tough job to do. And I really hope I see some comments that are actually telling him that, because he needs to know that. Because mentally, it can be really tough. It can be really tough. Shall I read some of the comments? Let me see, man. Northwest Repair made a video. Oh, okay. So I hope he's seen that, because I would bet a lot of money. I'm not even subbed to Tony. What on earth? Even though I've watched so many of his videos. I would guarantee.
Just hot air. We don't need anything. I got easier to remove.
What board is Tony doing here, by the way?
Fumes.
Do we know what board Tony's using?
We're not going to be.
I mean, that looks like a 40 series or 50 series connector, right? Yeah. So that's the video that he's done. That's got 58k views. I'm really assuming he's watched it. The reason why this looks like a red bar, by the way, is because I've clicked it but not watched it. Just in case anybody, YouTube can be weird like that. I've not watched this video. I think what I did is I done a job where I've middle scroll wheeled and done that to watch it, and I didn't end up watching it. But I'm going to go ahead and assume it'll be really interesting to watch this. I won't do it on the live stream, but it'll be interesting to see what technique. That's exactly what I'm talking about. See, Tony has the one that the Yahuwah one, not the one that I've got, the Atom, where the heater itself is in the station, but the heater's in the handle itself. Wow. This guy is magical, man. If we put it, Tony's absolutely crazy. He's tagged him as well. I really hope he's seen it. I don't know. Again, I don't know if Jay will necessarily take on the stuff. I'm assuming he might do, and whether he just sends it to Alex still, I don't know. But that's interesting. What was some of the? You can use Captain Tape to protect areas from heat. Yes, but it can become really, really messy. Can we acknowledge how lean Jay has become? Is showing. Awesome comment. Awesome comment. Flux works for desoldering too, but he used flux. He said that he used flux, right? He said that he used flux. I keep hearing Lewis screaming, "Heat the board." To be fair, you've picked one. Yes. Austin. To be fair, you picked one of the hardest possible scenarios to learn with. You almost got this, Jay. Last piece of the puzzle is flux. You need flux to help with it and stop oxidizing the joints. Yep. Also, the silver solder using manufacturers is a pain to melt initially. Yep. Low temp solder is the way to go, like you try using high heat, high mass tip soldering iron. Oh, that's a very good point as well. I don't know if he... Yeah, I don't know if what we were talking about is when he used the hot air station with his soldering iron to melt the stuff. I mean, yeah, this is a W comment. There we go. Check out NanoFix. Yes, there we go. Yes, big up Zach. I don't even know if Zach knows about this. Zach being tagged in this comment. Lovely jubbly. Need patience. Once more pins get the heat down. Yeah, time and patience you get in there. Keep trying. Yeah, man. These are comments that you want to see. These are comments you want to see. Yeah, so on point. That comment is looking really healthy. Yeah, W comments, man. W comments. I like this, Jay. You're learning and moving forward. I think the moment you stop, like, yes, this is it. These are the comments you want to see. Use more flux and desolder, copper mesh to clean it. ... I mean, it's just. No, if that doesn't mean, yeah, it just means that it don't clean the residue. You won't have any trouble. It's true. It's true. Should have videoed the attempt to desolder the connector. I mean, to be fair, there's some nice comments here, man. I'd say majority of them are good, helpful comments, right? I'd say. Where is the flux? Question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark. What did Jay say to this? Anti-glare light heard the flux on camera. You're using the worst flux possible. The stuff you're using is cheap. I feel like sometimes the way that the comments are portrayed, like people aren't meaning how it comes across, but sometimes when you read it, it's really hard to like gauge how somebody is over a comment. You know, like this isn't really, I mean, it's straight to the point, but it's not a nice way to kind of put it across, right? These are okay comments. Again, what's that? I've never seen that in my life. Why has that popped up? Genshin Impact. Good on you trying to learn. Exactly. A valiant effort. Yes. Don't need this much soldering experience. It's true. Soldering class, local college. Yeah. Well, no, this is just not a helpful comment, is it? These are really good comments, man. These are really nice comments. So do you know what? Actually, again, W from the repair community. You know, like the actual, you know, the nice community from it and whatnot. it looks like they've left some nice comments, some helpful comments there, and I'm not going to. I mean, it's just really, really good that Tony's made a video for Jay to potentially reference if he wants to. He might not want to, but if he wants to maybe look at giving that a go, then he can follow Tony's instructions. And there's no one better to instruct you than Tony, in my opinion, because he does this day in, day out. It's something that, you know, he is a clear professional with. He does it as a service for people. His reviews speak for themselves. Like, yeah. Overall, I think he done a stellar job removing the second one that he showed. He done a really, really good job with that, and it is potentially just down to the different board thicknesses, you know. So yeah, he done a very, very good job for somebody who doesn't often do it, and he's picked one of the hardest jobs to do that needs and requires experience. So he shouldn't beat himself up about it. I mean, both of them are competent in removing connectors, from what I've seen. Alex does a great job removing a connector, and he's done hundreds of GPU repairs, as far as I'm aware, in terms of those specific ones, replacing the power connectors. And Tony specifies in, or specifies. I don't know if that's a word. He specializes in GPUs. So you're not really going to get anyone better than Tony to teach you and show you how to do something. So yeah. Alex doesn't want to do complexity. Well, you also have to like take into consideration the business model, right? The business model that Alex runs, which is something that I've spoken about many a time. Like, if he's got so many repairs coming through the door, why would he waste time? Why would he waste time doing a complex repair? I understand it from both directions, man. I do, because why would he waste time doing a complex repair like that when he has 30 other devices in the queue that could earn him a lot more money in that same time? Am I going insane, or is there double audio lagging? You might have me open on another tab, Elliot, is what I would say. Adson, 69HZ.
Hey Joey, massive fan.
Hello.
You motivated me to quit my job and fix and resell consoles. I now make my monthly wage each week. Absolute legend, thanks.
Is that true? Is that a true story? Because if so, that's incredible, and you should be super proud of yourself. Wow. Ads, thank you very much for the £1.97. I appreciate you. Thank you. I'm sorry one more time. What's that for, Trin? I was not saying it's a bad thing. It's smart. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it would bankrupt him if he did complexity all day. Yeah, yeah. I mean, he's got staff to pay for, even if it's his family. He's got overheads. You know, the property that he has for the business and all of those things. Jay tweeted out last night that he stuck at it and eventually managed to replace the connector. What? Did he? I hardly use Twitter. Jay's 2 cents. Oh, my guy. Guess who stuck with it and successfully repaired their first melted 5090 connector? This guy. Now, second issue. One pin is making a bad connection due to me scratching the solder mask on the board, and now the solder doesn't want to flow down the hole. Ordering more connectors and will learn to mask repair, but it's a huge step forward for me after giving up multiple times. I'm assuming non-leaded 6327 is the solder I should be using to solder the connector. I know low matters removing solder, but no one actually says what to reapply. Yeah. Definitely reapply the leaded. I hope people have said, yeah, reapply the leaded. What are the comments on Tony's videos, man? What a legend, Tony, for just getting straight on with it. I absolutely love that. Great content from him from that perspective. Helping a brother out. Yeah. I love that, man. This is what it's about, man. And again, it's one of those things. It's like, who wins here? Everybody. Because Tony puts out a video explaining how to do it. So somebody else going through the same problems will see that and most likely apply those things. And then it happens. And then everybody learns. Yeah, exactly. He just needed to walk away and come back with a bit of a fresh mind. And he probably, I don't know if he did take advice on from anybody or whether he just done it, but fair play to him. And I guarantee you that feeling will have him hooked now. That feeling will have him hooked. Oh, wait a minute. So Alex from Northridge Fix 8 hours ago also posted a video fixing a melted connector on a 4090 Founders Edition. Is that in response, or is that just a video that he's put out, I wonder? Wow. The trick to trace repair: 12 cups of caffeinated drinks to shake your way to success. I highly doubt that. I highly doubt it. But yeah, wait, have I just had an announcement go out? Or no, it's been out for a while. Right, I'm gonna go to the toilet real quick, chat. And then we'll see what we do. Bear with me 2 seconds. Let me just put the music up a little bit. Bear with me 2 seconds. Bye. Hey peeps, sorry. Whoa. Medic, welcome. How are you? I got an Xbox Series S for £50. Apparently started smoking, which me like Lord Glove. Started smoking. I'm sure my low matter is below 100. Yeah, potentially. Yeah. Yeah, leaded's around about the 180. That's when he said it. I was a bit like, yeah, I'm pretty sure that's leaded. Around about that. Around about that. Should we do the, do you guys want to do the, if we get like a list of things for me to do with the hot air gun, let's write that quick. What do we think I could do with the hot air gun, chat? My first one is probably going to be something like remove and replace caps. Remove and replace something a little bit bigger, like an M92T36. M92T36. We could do remove and replace a HDMI retimer on an Xbox One S. We could do remove and replace HDMI encoder on PS5, because that's a step up from the retimer of an Xbox One S, is what I would say. Remove and replace HDMI port on I'll probably go PS5. Is there any other, would you say there's any other things to remove and replace? Or let's see, I'll tell you what, remove SSD controller / south bridge, because that's going to be a remove. I don't know about the replace. I might be able to, but it depends on if I've got one that's bald or not. We could just do like a reflow of SSD controller / south bridge. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a removal, but I will remove one as well. Not PS5 APU. Is there anything else? Oh, Nintendo Switch port. I think that would be a good one. Replace Nintendo Switch port. Replace. What about control? What about replace controller? Analog stick. I think that'd be pretty good to do with a cheap hot air as well. So I've got caps, M92T36, a retimer for an Xbox One S, an encoder for a PS5, a port on a PS5, HDMI port, a reflow of an SSD controller or south bridge, / take one off, replace a Nintendo Switch USB-C port, and replace a controller analog stick or take it off. All FPC connectors. Good one, Sniper. Good one. Nintendo Switch LCD FPC connector. Yeah, let's see how that goes. So that'll be, because that'll demonstrate heating from the underside of the board as well, right? Nice. All right. Should we do that? Chat, do you want to see? Let's do it live. Why not? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Atom. Let me just check my recording and stuff is all good. Let's do it live. Why not? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Atom. Let me just check my recording and stuff is all good. Testing. Yeah, I think it's all good. Right. So what I'll do is I'll take my Atom ST862D, this hot air soldering station. What I'll do is I'll unplug this. I'm literally going to replace it with the cheap one that I purchased from Amazon. And in total, I think it cost me £40 for this station. If not, then the correct price will be edited properly to represent exactly what it is that I paid. But I'm just going to remove this one for the time being. Oh, this, do you know, it doesn't have a oh, the on and off buttons at the front, isn't it? I've got quite a lot of this on top of here, so I do need to be cautious and careful. I should probably clean this whilst this is off. I should probably clean it. I can do a good old sweeperoonie, couldn't I? Let me do a good old sweeperoonie. Just not on top of all the other gunk. Let me just do it straight into the bag. I got my iNeasy tweezers from AliExpress today. I'm very chuffed. Nice! Have you used them? They're amazing. They're so good. They're really good. So much cleaner. Wow. What is that? This desk is really nice when it's clean. Wow, here she is. It's like rewinding time, man. I've not used one of these in such a long time. Wait, what is going on here? What is... What? It should be better. It's just very dark outside again. I don't know why it does this. Why does the sun go down? Okay, here's our station, and here's the handle. Technic coming in with a tier 3. Technic, 21 months.
Everybody.
Hello, my friend. Thank you very much for the tier 3 for 21 months. You're absolutely insane. Thank you. I appreciate you. That's very, very kind. Thank you. The heating element is inside the handle itself. And like I said, people like Northwest Repair and a lot of other techs use hot air stations like this. I personally use my Atten, which has the heating element inside the station itself. This is technically cheaper, but it can definitely, hopefully, still do the job. So I'm assuming, oh, so we take these screws out and then we can put our little stand here. Nice. Let's do that quickly. Like that, like this. Wait, if I put it like that, just sits like that, does it? Just making sure it definitely doesn't go any other way. I don't think it does. What's that for? Yalinir, thank you very much for the Prime subscription on Twitch. I appreciate you. There we go. Okay, cool. So again, this is, I just want to confirm as well and say this is something that I have used before. Not this exact station, but it was a Yahoo one. The model, I mean, this has changed for me. We've got simply the airspeed here, and the temperature is decided by these two buttons. Simple as that. Power on and off. There's nothing really. There's not much more to it. I don't know what the max temp is. I will confirm in a second though. And then we've got our different handles as well. For majority of this, and for the majority of jobs that I do, I'm probably just going to use the handle itself. I have no need necessarily to use the tips that it's come with, to be honest with you, unless there's something that I'm really trying to hone in on. But I think it'll be okay. It does come with a square one as well. The issue with these hot air guns is that you can't like hot swap the tips. You can't necessarily do that very well with the Atten, but with the Atten you have a metal stand, and you can pull the tip off. It's like a pull and push function rather than a screw, because this delays. If you're wanting to switch, you have to wait for the handle to cool down, and then you're going to have to wait to be able to switch them, etc. The Atten makes that a little bit quicker with just like pulling it and plopping another one on. How much did I pay? It was around about, I want to say around about £40 or so for this hot air gun. My Atten was around the 200 mark when I got it. This is a lot cheaper. The whole idea though is, am I going to be able to still do my jobs competently with this, right? Yeah, it's around about, hey, that's almost exactly the same hot air gun I use. Exactly, yeah. So it might be interesting for, oh wait, no, this just, oh no.
Morning, what we fixing today?
Chris, thank you very much for the 14 months in a row. I appreciate you, you absolute legend. Thank you so much for the support. This is an issue because I don't have a plug that side of my desk that's going to be able to... I thought it had a kettle lead because I've just unplugged my Atten, and I was just going to be able to plug my kettle into this. But actually what I'm going to have to do now is plug this in somewhere, and I don't even know. Oh wait, I do have an extension lead down there. Wait, yeah, I can just use that extension lead. It's not going to be the best setup, but it'll do. It'll do, donkey, it'll do. And there's nothing really plugged into my extension lead, so we should be all good. Actually, I can take these out now and move that so it's a little bit better for this. There we go. Okay, plugged in. All good. All right. So I've prepared a list of things that we're going to be able to do here. Replace M92T36, an HDMI retimer on an Xbox One S. We've got a retimer on the PS5. We've got a port, a HDMI port on the PS5. Remove the SSD controller or south bridge, or reflow the SSD controller south bridge. Replace a Nintendo Switch USB-C charging port. Replace a controller on an analog stick, and an FPC connector as well. So we'll see how we get on. Might not get through all of these, but we'll see. And I think doing this in order. Hey Joe, just want to say thank you for having such an approachable channel presence. I had very minimal experience with repairs and soldering in the past. I was told which parts to remove, but not taught why they were bad. But I missed it a lot, and I always wanted to know more. Finding your channel has inspired me. I love that. You're more than welcome, Drunk. Thank you very much for coming in and saying that. I appreciate you. Thank you. Right, let me just take my hoodie off, guys, because I'm getting hot. Always hot. Stop it, you. This hot air stations helped me make a good amount of money this past year. Exactly, yeah. All right. Okay, what's the first thing? What do we think? Should we focus on the Nintendo Switch? I think we focus on the Nintendo Switch and an M92 T36 and an FPC connector. That'd be pretty cool. So let me see if I've got a M92 T36 on this board. I don't. Work this one. I do. And the FPC connectors on this board. Okay, cool. So these are donors. FYI. It'll be interesting to see how we get on. Oh. Now, like I said, I'm not going to use a nozzle just for the sake of time, because if I was to take a nozzle off and put one back on, it would take me a very long time because I have to let it cool down, etc., etc. I'm going to try and operate over here as well, because that's where the camera won't shake as much. Right. How tough's this job going to be? Guys, what do you think? My scope definitely doesn't seem... I'm going to say vertically aligned at the moment, is what I will say. Because vertically aligned would be that. Don't know if that's the lens. Right. I'm going to operate with... Wait, what does this go up to? 500 degrees Celsius. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm gonna operate at 400. I'm gonna see how that goes. We've got... I could probably use max here, I think. No, I won't use max. I'll use like a 6. So it has a scale of like 1 to 8. I'm gonna put the dial on a 6. How does that feel in my hand? It's a bit weak, to be fair. I'm gonna go 7. That's a bit better. So I'm going to go for a 7. If I put that in the holder, does it stop? Oh, it does. So it automatically stops. How does it know that? It must be like a magnet or something. Must be like a magnet or something. Get our tweezers ready. I've not done jobs like this in a very long time, so you'll have to forgive me. Here we go. So I've lifted it back off, and it's heating up. Good stuff. I'm going to wait for it to get up to temp. It says it's at 400 degrees Celsius. Whether it's actually at 400 degrees Celsius is questionable. But here we go. No nozzle. Just see how easy this is. 400 degrees Celsius. She's going, you can see. There we go. So that was 400. Which, in terms of temperature, I'd say that that's roughly the same as the Atten in terms of how long that took to come off. With my Atten, I'm using like 430, 440 on these boards to do jobs a bit quicker. Let me see if I can put it back on. As neat as that. So as you can see, the solder's hardened now. So it's going to be tough. So what I'll do is I'll come back in with the hot air station. And again, I'm just circling the heat. I feel like that's a really important factor you need to bear in mind. Always make sure that you're circling the air, because if I leave it here, yeah, it's going to heat up quicker, but you're more likely to damage the board and components in those circumstances, even though it's quite tough to do so. Here we go. Solder's molten. I come back in. Place that there. I'm going to come off the heat. This is where I feel like it's more technique. And then I won't even add flux here because I think this has got flux from previous. I'm just going to see if I can reflow this IC without adding any more flux. Just like that. I don't even need to add flux here. And then what I'm going to do is put the hot air gun back in the holder right now and check my work. And see how I got on. But to me, that looks all right. To me, it looks fine. I'm going to rotate now and see what the joints are like. I've not used my soldering station here. There we go. Look at that. No flux. It has got flux on the board, though, so we can't really say no flux. But taking it off and putting it on, I am more than happy with that job. More than happy. Look at that. Perfect. Let's do this, which is a tough job, FYI. But same sort of principle, except for the fact that I'm going to go underneath now. I'm going to go underneath the board. So no nozzle. I'm just going to rotate the hot air. I'm hoping this video might actually be quite helpful to people who have this station and are having issues with certain jobs. Because if I go through like the majority of the jobs and just talk through, then I reckon it's going to be useful. So here we go. Same thing. I'm going to up the temp here and I'm going to go 430. Now, let me just show you before we get started. Let me show you the condition of the back of the board so you can see how I get on in that regards. This is the condition of the back of the board, okay? Right here. So just bear that in mind. Let's go. So I'm actually going to whack this all the way up to 8 now. Okay, so I've put this up to full airspeed at 430 degrees Celsius because people also worry about knocking components off the back using hot air and the full hot air itself at full speed. So let's see how this goes, right? So I'm at 430 degrees Celsius and you can see over here in the corner, I am simply, not even in the corner, sorry, in the middle of the screen, I am just moving that hot air around. So I'm not keeping it stagnant. Because the way that you damage the board, again, I'll reiterate, is if I keep this still here like this, for a prolonged amount of time, I'm going to damage and bubble the board. But let's just see here. So I'm going to keep moving the hot air around. Can you see factory flux starting to bubble here? Which means that we're getting some heat into the board. Give this a little tap. It's not moving yet. And again, we'll see the solder change color. Just going to slow down the rotation of the hot air. See if I can grab it. There we go. Just like that. Now, this job's going to be tough if I don't use leaded solder because that's exactly what I do. But just to see if I can get it back on, I'm going to show you putting some flux on the board like that. Not going to necessarily worry too much about, flux getting in the connector and stuff for the example that I'm showing. And then if I just take the connector again, so let's say this was a donor connector and I was replacing said connector, I would quite simply line her up. But that's handled that very well. There we go. That's pretty much in position. I've accidentally nailed that. So I'm going to come off the hot air. Sorry, I'm going to grab the hot air gun. And again, 430 degrees Celsius is more than suffice here. Airspeed level 8. No nozzle. And I'm probably not even going to touch the connector here. I'm just going to try and reflow it. So I've put a little bit of flux just to help the solder flow. And if I had prep the pads with leaded, this operation would be a lot quicker because that leaded solder would bring down the melting temperature of the solder in question. But I've effectively made it more difficult for myself here because I'm using the unleaded that's already on the board. Therefore, it's going to require more heat to melt that solder. So again, I'm just rotating that hot air, and you have to have patience here. Can you see it just about starting to bubble now? That'll be the flux, and now the solder's going as well. It's going that darker, sort of more vibrant grey. And the ground holes, sorry, the ground pins on either side of the connector, one over here and one here, are going to be tough. They're going to take a lot more heat than the actual pins themselves. I'm just holding it now. There you see that snap? There we go. Look at that. See that snap? And I'll keep it on just a little bit longer until I am happy that it's in place. It looks a little bit lopsided right now, so I'm just going to come in and tap very carefully. Just like that. All right, I'll come off the heat. I'm going to wait for that to solidify properly, which is about now. And now we can inspect to see how well of a job we did. Are the pins connected? That's the big question here, isn't it? Yeah, so I just needed to, what I needed to do was move the connector down a little bit, which I'd more than happily do. But if we look, you can see that everything is connected solder-wise. There would be a better connection with the solder if we had used leaded and maybe a tiny bit more flux. Thing is, you don't want to use too much flux around these connectors. But as you can see, I mean, this would work. I'm just not happy with the positioning, but that's a me thing. And just trying to be a little bit quicker. But I would simply just push this back a little bit more this way. But this would work, no problem at all. And these pins are all solid. You can see that they're soldered. So that, if anything, that's no different to me using my Atom at all. Let's check the back of the board. Look at that. You wouldn't even tell work's been done here, would you? You wouldn't even tell work's been done. So that's just to show, and that was full air, 8 out of 8. And just to show that, you know, you can't really take components off with airflow speed. The Quick, on the other hand, is a lot more powerful, and it operates at 120% airflow for some reason, like the max. I don't know why it's 120%, I have no idea. But that thing is lethal. It's like a leaf blower. Not saying that when I used it, I knocked components, because I didn't, but I can imagine that if you got a bit too close with that bad boy, you probably send some components flying. But I mean, with this one, with the Yahoo 858D, no issues at all. Entire backside doesn't even look connected. What are you talking about? Yes, it does. It's fine. They're all connected. Okay. So that's that. Good stuff. TFM Repairs, welcome. What else have we got? So we've done the M92 T36. We haven't done caps yet. I mean, caps aren't really going to be an issue. I can tell you that free of charge. I'll do the USB-C port in a second. But like, for example, this capacitor here. Like, again, I'll come in with around about 430 degrees Celsius and just remove this cap and just see how long this takes. For the sake of the video as well, I won't actually speed this up. So 430 degrees Celsius, airflow speed at a maximum. And again, me just moving around the hot air. I don't want to keep it stagnant. And this is again unleaded solder that's on this cap specifically. So it's going to melt at a higher temperature. There we go. And then a case of putting it back on. Exactly the same. And then what I would do is obviously come in with some flux to make sure that that cap sits flat and takes the solder on well. But you can see the ground side here is a little bit harder. But there we go. I mean, that cap's on. So yeah, I mean, all jobs seem to be A-okay at the moment. There is, I mean, what I will try now real quick, I'll try and take off this connector without singeing it from this side. This is very tough and is not something I recommend people doing, just so you're aware. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to do it. I can do this with the Atten. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it with the Yahuwah, okay? Now, what I'm doing is moving the hot air very rapid because you want the board to get up to temperature here. So I'm just moving the hot air around. We're at 430 degrees Celsius. Plastic usually melts quite easily at 200 degrees Celsius. So we're more than double. But I'm just moving the hot air around very quickly. And I'm going to try and pull up on the connector in a second to see if I can take it off. Because it is doable. I've done it with the Atten on multiple occasions. But I guess this is a nice little test for if you have a cheaper gun. Wow. Look at that. Crazy. So you can definitely desolder things from topside. It's doable. The fan connector here has, however, taken a little bit of a beating, but I mean, still functional and all good. It's because it's a smaller connector, and because I was probably focusing here, I left this area a little bit unattended, but that still will be fine. Same with this one. The class works okay. Oh, I don't know if that looked like that before. Probably not. But this connector, fine. And yeah. So yeah, stuff like that is doable. All right. So you can do it with a cheaper soldering station for sure. Let's take off the USB-C port on a Nintendo Switch. One that I think people will definitely be able to relate to as being a difficult job. This is a tough job in my opinion. What would I do here? I would actually go 450. Max airflow. No nozzle. See what happens. Now, what do you think I'm going to say? The key thing here is to move the hot air underneath. I should have probably checked to see. Let me check and see if the plastic is burnt on the port itself, because that is really easily singed before I do this. No. Ever so slightly. But it gives us a good representation of how this is going to look by doing it. Now, it doesn't necessarily matter because we're taking this port off. It will matter more so when we go to put a port on. So I've just got my right hand circling the hot air gun underneath the port, and I'm about half an inch away from the board itself, and I'm just moving this around, this hot air. Just about to see it starting to go, so I'm going to come in and tap. It's just about going. But you want to make sure that everything is molten. Which it is now. So I'm going to remove the port. Ready? Just like that. Now again, what I would do is I'd replace this solder with... to be fair, I should replace the solder with leaded because it's going to make our job easier for this circumstance. So what I'll do, I won't even replace it. I'll add leaded, which is exactly the same as what I do with any new port. And I'll use a new port as demonstration for this. And you know what? I won't even tin it. I'm going to see how I get on without tinning it because I always tin ports. But I'm just not going to tin this to see how we get on. Just out of curiosity, to be fair. So what do? I just add some leaded.
I'm late today. Evening Joey and chat. Loving the amount of streams
Zen.
lately Joey.
Thank you.
Laughing face.
I appreciate that, thank you. So I've just added leaded. And I'll come through and just wipe that out because we don't need that much excess flux here. But I'll do what I do with every single port. And I'll just add a little bit to make sure that we get a good bond. Not too much, of course. Now, I'm actually going to reduce the heat here. So this is what I would do. I would go probably about 430, which might still, in this situation, be a little bit high. But we can work with it. And I'm going to take the port, and I'm going to place the port in my tweezers. And get ready to drop it on. So I'll come back in with the hot air now. Can just about start to see the solder melting in all areas. That's what we want. Come through with the port, drop that on. And let it sit, which it's going to without me touching it. But if it's going to be stubborn, it's not. So I will just quickly tappity tap. Unless there's a bit, there might be a little bit of leftover port. Oh no, there we go. Patience. Moving that around. And this doesn't have, again, leaded solder on the port itself. So I'll just push this down. Come off the heat. I'm not forcefully pushing this down. It's just a little tap. That's solidified. First things first, how singed is the port? Little bit. We do have singeing. So that's on me, but it's going to be, supposedly anyway, it's fully functional. Look at the solder through the board as well. It's done really well in that sense. It's flowed all the way through. Really, really nice connection there. And then we've got the burnt plastic, which is still a thing on my Atten. You just, in those situations, what I could probably do is move the hot air around quicker, or I could lower the actual temperature of the hot air gun, and that might have reduced the damage to the plastic. But still, let's actually check the job. Look at that. So we've got the only thing that I've done here is I put a bit too much excess solder in the ground holes. That's it, and that can be sorted with just a quick touch of the iron itself. In fact, I'll show you because it looks a little bit messy. This is a donor board, by the way, so it's not me working on something. But for example, if I was to come in like this and literally tap it, because the board's hot as well, we should see pretty much instant success. Just like that. So now, again, for the sake of me using a cheap hot air station, look at that. Look at that job. Now, I didn't tin the port, so I don't know if these specific pins are going to be very strong. But a lot of techs don't actually tin this part. Yeah, and as you can see, I mean, these pins are soldered to the board without me even tinning them. Can you imagine if I had a leaded solder? It'd be extremely strong, but these aren't going anywhere. And look at the solder on, I mean, that's got nothing to do with the hot air gun. That's more so to do with the soldering iron that I just used. But in terms of how did that perform, how did the hot air station perform with this job, phenomenal. There's no question. There's no question.
Hey Joey.
Yep.
Hello from Las Vegas.
Las Vegas, Lord above. Thank you, I appreciate that. By the way, Zern, thank you very much for coming through and hitting me up with a tier 1 for 15 months. I appreciate you. And Crookie, my guy, thank you very much for the Prime for 10 months. Hope you're well. And Bub as well. And Scott, thank you very much for the $2. Also, I appreciate it. Thank you. So yeah, that's that. I mean, that is pretty much every single job that I do on a Nintendo Switch, bar, you know, BQ might be one of them, but it's the same principle. You apply heat from the bottom side of the board and BQ will sort itself out. So it's the same as the FPC connector, essentially the same method that we use. That's all good. I mean, I've got no qualms there. Let's move on to something a little bit thicker now. Let's go with an Xbox One S and do a couple of jobs on that to see if this can keep up. Because so far, on a Nintendo Switch anyway, which is quite a small, thin board, does a great job. Let's see how it holds up on a Xbox One S, chat. I need one with a retimer and one with a port. That's not got a retimer. This one got a retimer. Yes. I didn't even get a hide today. Hey, Loki. Oh yeah, doing something like phones and stuff. This would be amazing. Yeah. Now we can get a little bit more stuck in. This should require a little bit more, to be honest. I think I was doing this with my old station, you know, the Yahoo, so I don't necessarily know. I don't think we're going to struggle too much with this, but as you can see, this is unleaded solder, and this chip's in particular is off an Xbox One S HDMI retimer IC. So let's see if I can take this off and go ahead and put it back on. Now, for a job like this, I'm actually going to go full whack. No, I'm not. I don't like to... Okay, I'm going to go 450 degrees Celsius, not 500. I don't see a need as to why I'd ever go to 500 degrees Celsius, but you never know. Let's see if I can take it off. No nozzle. Again, not a massive need to have one, to be honest with you. So what I'm doing now is just circling the heat, trying to put some heat into the board itself rather than direct it again straight on the chip, because that is how you can damage components, especially working at 450 degrees Celsius. So I just hold it a little bit and keep rotating. Keep rotating, keep rotating, and then come in again. Traditionally, this would take me quite a while as well on the Atom. I can see it now. This is molten, so I should just be able to pop that chip off. There we go. Look at that. Wow. Wow. Yeah. I mean, I want to say I'm shocked, but I'm not, in the sense that because I've owned one of these before, I'm now more so starting to realize that a lot of it was skill. A skill issue more so than a product issue, which is why I went up to the Atom, but I'm actually thinking I could do a lot more stuff with this now. Where's my flux gone? Who's taken my flux? Where's that gone? I'll use some other flux. I'll use the M35. Stuff looks nice. I've still not got the other tip yet. You know, I bought the, what do you call it? I bought the JBC tips. Haven't got it yet. Which is a little bit concerning. They did say this week, so I mean they've got until tomorrow to deliver. This flux cleans really nice. Any tools or equipment that I use in this video will be left down below in the description as an affiliation link, FYI, in case you want to pick something up from what I've demonstrated in this video. I'll get a little bit of a kickback, so it's appreciated. And then we simply just come back in. I've not replaced one of these chips in forever, so I can't wait for this to go horribly wrong, but we'll see. Because I can't remember the last time that I actually worked on an Xbox One S. I could lower the temperature here, technically, because I don't have to operate at 450, applying the leaded solder. However, I will keep it at 450, because I'm lazy. But, see, you can see that it's melting. So I'll come back in, place this on top. Probably around, I want to say something around about there. Probably a little bit off. And then we'll come in with our little bit of flux. I also think I'm going to have to push down on this, because on the ground plane, I accidentally left a little bit of solder on when I was tinning the pads around. So I think I'm going to have to push down in a sec. Because I think this is leaning up, like the Tower of Pisa. Like now, for example, I'm going to have to push down. Yeah. Give it a little tap, tap, tap. But should be able to let surface tension really do the job here. There we go. That's what I was waiting for. Okay. Sorry about the wobble. And then whilst the board is hot, I'm just going to simply come in with my soldering iron and just rotate. And just quickly remove that blob. Just like that. Quick clean. Now again, this flux really does like to clean up nicely. However, I will just come in with a blush. A blush! Just so I can inspect the connection. Let's see. All connected that side. If I wanted to be really nitpicky here, I would simply just go around with my soldering iron. But again, the job is no different using this hot air station. That's not down. So what I actually need to do here is push more. So that was, again, on me, more so than the actual hot air station, because I can't expect that to work magic like that. Same this side. So the chip hasn't actually been sat down properly. Yeah. So I need to push it more. Pretty much. So what I'll do here, because the chip's in a good position, because I can tell it is, I'm actually just going to put a little bit of force on it now, tiny bit of force, and push it down at the same time. Because if I try and push it down whilst I'm working on it, it'll make the job a lot harder. There's our squeezage. And I'll just come in with the iron and run this over. Like that. Clean with the microfiber. Another look. Wicked. Much better. See that? That was a me mistake rather than the hot air gun. Perfect. Nice. There we go. So that's that as well. No different, in my opinion. No different. However, this is where this hot air station might be a little bit different, I feel. I'm going to try and remove a port, a PS5, sorry, an Xbox One S HDMI port to be precise, and see if I can get that off clean. And even potentially look at putting it back on clean. Let's see. I think this video might be a little bit longer than what I thought it would be. Oh, the better way to do this would be to... Wait there. I've not done one of these in such a long time. I kind of just forgot that the best way to do this is do it like this. So I've got enough leverage here. This actually needs to be replaced. If you can see it's a donor, but you can see the clasp is a little bit wide. I've got enough leverage here, so the port itself can fall off, which is good because it means that I can heat from the top side and this can just fall off onto the desk. I have more control with the hot air gun rather than going from underneath and then potentially risk ripping pads by pulling it. So again, I'm going to go 8 and I'm going to go I'll go 480, which is max whack on the Atten, but again, 480 is not the max that this Yahoo 858D can do. So let's see what we can achieve. You can be a little bit more brutal with these in the sense of it doesn't necessarily matter too much if I hold the hot air gun in one place for this, because we're not risking damaging components. I guess the same principle applies in the sense of burning the board. I don't want to bubble the board at all. So you still have to be careful of that, but I have a little bit more leeway, essentially. And this should be a little bit more kinder on me. You should see, if I move the light a little bit, you'll see the port fall out when it's time. But the factory flux from the board is starting to melt just here, which is a good sign. Nothing on the actual solder yet, however. Oh, maybe just about starting to go now. Or is that the flux still? That might still be the flux. Okay, here goes the solder. See that? Both sides as well. Lovely jubbly. Back ones usually take longer because they're on a they're just on a bigger ground plane. There we go. And the port's full. Oh no, it hasn't fallen out. It's going though. Now I can just tap. It's gone. The port has fallen off. There we go. So again, now what I would do is I'd flip it over if I was doing this as a job, and I'd add a bunch of leaded solder. To be fair, I don't like all of the factory flux I have here that's burnt, so I'm actually just going to really quickly scrape that off, because that can make your job a little bit messier. So this factory flux here is like caramel, and it doesn't look as presentable. I'm scraping that off my tweezers, just like that. And then I'll come in with a quick clean. Board's still going to have a lot of heat in it, but I have a beast of a soldering iron anyway. And I'll come in with some flux. And then I'll just go ahead and apply some leaded here. Here. Look at this soldering iron, man. It's not even struggling in any way, shape or form. Again, affiliation link down below in the description. And then we just go a bosh. So nice to work with. Get rid of that flux. That flux and that iron is a really good combination. And this flux does clean really well the Mechanic M95. The stuff that you see that's still on the board is the factory flux that's really, really stubborn. Whereas look at the M95. Wow. Okay, I won't, again, I'm not going to solder tin the port because I don't want to. I want to see how this performs without doing that. Our port is simply ready, prepped. Sorry, our board is simply ready and prepped for the port to go on. So what I'm going to do is apply a little bit of flux. Now, the good thing about this is you can add a little bit more flux here on these boards, the Xbox One S's, because the pins actually sit higher and you won't risk getting flux inside the port. Can you see? So it kind of sits off the board. So that's why I'm a little bit more lenient with flux on this device than any other. Still want to try use minimal so it's easier to clean. But so here we go. 408 degrees Celsius, 8 out of 8 on the old airflow. And this should, technically, this solder should melt a lot quicker because of the fact it's mixed with leaded. You can already see it starting to change colour. And it's going. There we go. Now, I like to use my fingers here. I wouldn't recommend it because I don't want to be responsible if you hurt yourself. But I do use my fingers. And I just go ahead and place the port on. Well, I try to. Maybe the solder's not gone all the way through yet. So I'll keep the heat on. Try again. This is again a little bit of port or something that's stopping it from going down, but I'll keep the heat on. Let's see what's going on here. Seems to just be a little bit stubborn. Now the port's going to be hot as well, so I can't really use my fingers here. So I'll come in with my tweezers. I'll just try and wiggle it on if I can. It's almost like there's something stuck in that back right ground hole, in my opinion. I don't think it's going to be a case of solder not melting. Kind of feels like there's something in there. So you might have an obstruction. Again, nothing to do with the hot air gun. This is just life of a repair tech. Yeah, it's not going in. So what I'll do is I'll take the port out and I'll see what's going on with that. And what do? I get my solder sucker. And this little doohickey device will tell me very quickly what's going on with that back one. So I'll come back in with the hot air gun. And I'm going to soak it out ready. There we go. Alright. So I'm now wondering if the port will sit flush, and I'll just add solder after the fact. What I could do here is just add solder, knowing that it's now clear, but I'm going to try it a different way. I'm just going to drop the port on and then add solder after. Just make sure that's molten. Is it molten? I can't even tell. Yeah, it is. Probably get a little bit more flux now because I've messed about a little bit. Come with the port. And it's sat straight down, straight away. So it's clearly something obstructing it. And can you see now? Look. So I'll make sure that's on nice and properly. It does have still a little bit like of a wiggle to it. I wonder if there's something in the bottom left now as well. I don't know. There we go. Just leave it like that. And I'll come with my soldering iron to the other side and apply some solder in those holes. Wait for that to solidify. So that's solid now. So I turn her over. I'm actually just going to come in with my 210. I'm hoping that has gone all the way through. I imagine it would have. Quick clean. That job was no different to when I was using my Atten, other than the little mishap we had, but that was nothing to do with myself nor the actual hot air gun itself. It was the objects that we came across whilst doing this. And that's where I've just added all of that solder. It's gone way too through, which is really nice to see. That is, I mean, nobody's breaking that port, I'll be honest with you. That's very, very strong. Let me just see if I can clear that. Again, this is a donor, so, I mean, even if it was a customer job, this wouldn't necessarily matter. It would just be very, very strong. But let me just see if I can clear this. Probably not, because it's metal, isn't it? Nearly. Here's what it is, we'll leave it. It's still a beautiful job, nonetheless. Just clean that up. How do we look? Look at that. Wow. I didn't even tin. I know I said this, and I said this for the USB-C one. I didn't tin the pins. And look, that is solid all the way through. Look at that. Wow. What a nice job with such a cheap hot air station as well. Look at that. Every single one. Solid. And the solder's gone all the way through the holes. It's really, really nice. Really nice. I think we're going to struggle with an SSD controller or a South Bridge. So I want to try that next. I really do think I'm going to struggle here. So I'll work on a South Bridge next, right? Which is going to be here. I don't know if this one's got leaded solder underneath or not. I'm not entirely sure, but this is the second to biggest chip. So we've got a South Bridge here, and then I'll go onto an SSD controller, which is here, which is huge. And it's probably going to be like one of the biggest chips that you can take off with hot air. APU, I mean, is very questionable. You need other tools for that job, in my personal experience. Let's try and take off this South Bridge. No flux added. You can add flux to make your life a little bit easier, but I like to make my life difficult. So let's try it. Let's go 480 degrees Celsius, the same temperature as the Xbox One S and exactly the same airspeed, 8 out of 8. Let's see if I can get this off. Do you know what? One thing I will say is that because this doesn't have the heating element inside the handle, it's a lot lighter. So this feels really weird for me, considering for years I've been using the heavier one. It feels like I'm holding air. It's extremely light. That's melting the flux. So I do think we've had flux in the area before. So we do have to bear that in mind and take it into consideration. But I'm trying to move this off now. And I'm going to start trying to focus the heat a little bit more on the IC. There we go, it's done. I can't believe it. Look at that. Wow, okay. Maybe I just severely underestimated what I used to have. And it looks like, to me, it has been an extremely big difference in skill from what I used to be to where I am now, I guess. Let's try the SSD controller, which again is arguably the biggest chip you're probably going to mess around with, I'd say. I'm probably going to keep this for, you know, like when I use my my preheater. It's probably just going to be nice to have another hot air gun that I can just use instead of having to lump my atom everywhere, if that makes sense. So having this next to the hot air station is just going to make life 10 times easier. Let's try this SSD controller. I can see the flux underneath. So again, this has had flux. Honestly, I don't really see the point of ever using a nozzle. And it's done. Look at that. And look how clean that was. Okay, there was flux under, so it would be a lot worse if there wasn't flux, but... I didn't have my extract fan on, which is a big no-no from me. A really big no-no. But that is an incredible job, if I'm honest. I've just done the HDMI port with the Xbox One S. I feel like I should kind of round off with HDMI port on the PS5. And the reason I'm also saying that is because I've not done it in such a long time, but this would be like, you know, if I was using a cheap hot air gun, £40, you know, would I be able to do a job that's worth 70 to 80 pounds of a HDMI port replacement on a PS5? But I feel like it's exactly the same values as the one that I've just done with an Xbox One S. What do you guys think? I shouldn't really do it, right? Because I've done it with an Xbox One S, right? So it doesn't really make sense to do it again, does it? Really? I wouldn't bother. It's exactly the same, right? I've already proved it with the Xbox One S one, hey? Yeah, I mean, I'm just more than happy to keep that as is, and I mean, I've just taken 2 chips off that I can use actually, so that's happy days. This video probably won't be out for a few weeks, guys, because I'm quite far ahead at the moment, so I'm just kind of stacking them up, which is nice. Let me turn the fume extractor down a little bit, hey? It can do a job in the background, but would you say this is almost as good as your $250 Atom? I would say that I can do all of the jobs that I'd be able to do on the Atom with this cheaper £40 station. So the issue being is there's obviously a reason why I upgraded to the Atom. I think it might have been a placebo, I guess is the word, a placebo, where I'm like thinking, oh, it's definitely the tools. And therefore I had more confidence when I thought, and I was knowing that I was working with better tools. But if I had no money and say, oh, I just know my iron isn't in. If I had not a lot of money and I had to build a workshop again and start from scratch, I mean, if money was really tight, I'd have no issues picking this up and working with this. Let me put it that way. So I think it definitely came down to more of a skill issue, and I wasn't able to do things with the older hot air station because of my lack of skill, if I'm honest with you. I think rotating the hot air is such a fundamental piece of advice that I would recommend to anybody, because without that, you really start to see board bubbling, damaged components and stuff. When you use direct hot air, it's not good for the board or the components. I would gladly swap out this 858D for my Atom. I also said to you how I really like that it's a lot lighter than my Atom. The handle's a lot lighter, you know, in terms of size difference, they're pretty much, it's all the way on the floor, but it's pretty much identical. But the weight, I mean, and that's quite a big factor when you're trying to use both hands for something. I've got my tweezers here, I'm using this hand. Yeah, no issues at all. It's a very good point as well. You can replace the Yahuwah 4 times before you have to actually replace an Atom once. So yeah, it's a very good point. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did enjoy this specific video, please consider hitting the thumbs up button and subscribing to the channel if you're new around here. And as always, I shall see you in the next one. Peace. That was just me ending the video, chat, as you know. Why don't you clean the holes, put the port in, and then fill the holes back when the port is already on the board? Because I feel like that's down to like an experience thing. I feel like it's slower to do so, and also because of how many Nintendo Switch USB-C ports I've done, you don't have the option to do that. So I think I've just got it built into me that I just do the drop method. Simple as that. And when I used to do that, for example, and use that method, I had one occasion where like I took everything out and then I soldered the stuff back on, but because I had swapped between the pins quite quickly, the ground and the data pins and whatnot, and I was using my soldering station, because the board was so hot, the port dropped out on the other side, and I was like, oh, that's annoying. So I just never did it again. And I don't necessarily have a need to, because the method that I use works for me. And, you know, but it's not necessarily the right way. There's 1,000 different ways to actually do it. You can do it however you want. And you might have a different opinion with experience and whatnot. And that's okay. Like, you're okay to have different opinions and different ways of doing things, guys. It doesn't have to be one way. That's why I'll never say you need to do it like this, because you don't. You can do it so many other different ways. You do it the way that you want. Did you enjoy that demonstration, guys? Did you enjoy that? That was me, by the way, using a cheaper hot air station. Was it a good demonstration? And does it kind of really put it into perspective that actually it's not necessarily gear dependent, but more so experience dependent? Was it okay in that sense? I hope I got the point across. But yeah, I might just keep that. I'll put that in the loft. Put that in the loft. Takes up a lot less room as well than my Atom. Do I just switch to this? Do I just switch to the... No. 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 Do I? No. No, I don't. Do I? No. My Atom is my baby. I've done so many successful things with my Atom, I couldn't ever purely justify getting rid of it. I'd never be able to get rid of this. It's been such like a fundamental thing of the channel. You know what I mean? It would feel illegal to do that. Gaining experience, aka learning, is the fun of it. It was great. Shows the start is good enough for some time. Yeah. Well, I know again that there's probably quite a lot of lurkers today because of work and whatnot. One in the chat if you're a robot or a lurker. What does a lurker mean? It means that you're working or doing something else and you've just tuned in for like some background noise and that sort of thing. Why not both? You can't necessarily be watching. You could be watching this and working, I guess, but I mean, you wouldn't be working with your full mind on work. Let's put it that way. So yeah, I think it's like a working and lurking. I think that probably is the way to say it. Guys, thank you very much for joining me today. Thank you very much for the support. As always, I appreciate you. Nice to be able to get another video ahead as well. So thank you for sticking with me. And, you know, the edited version will look a lot more polished and whatnot. And it won't be out for a couple of weeks. So by the time that it comes around to it, you might be like, you might have forgotten that I'd even done this. Until you finish watching it. Imagine that. But yeah. Thanks for watching, guys. I was watching 10 minutes back. Never used Twitch. Not being real time. Oh, I see. Yeah, because you can rewind. You can rewind. Guys, thank you very much for tuning in. I appreciate you. And thank you for the follows and everything like that. 20,954. We're nearly at 21k. Thank you. Wizard says, hi, Joey and viewers. Our 14-year-old grandson watches all of your episodes and become quite good in troubleshooting and repair. Solder skills have come a long way. You provide what is needed. I love that, Wizards. Thank you. I appreciate that. That's very, very kind of you. Thank you. Thank you. It's one of the reasons why I kind of reminded myself that the stream is family friendly. Oh, I just tweaked my back or something. For that exact reason. People watching with younger children and whatnot, you know. No raiders. No, I'm going to go off and edit that video and just and get that done. I might pop on and play a little one game before I end the day, but I'm going to, and then come back on later on. Actually, I could come back later on, couldn't I, and edit the video. I'll see. But yeah, I'm not playing raiders now. I'm not playing raiders now. It's going to be time for dinner soon and finish the old work day up. One in the chat, if you enjoyed the stream. Thanks for watching. I'll be live on, I should be live on Sunday. I don't necessarily have, did you play the storage game? No, that could be a Sunday sort of situation. A nice chilled Sunday to play the Storage Hunters game. I don't have time now, unfortunately, but I won't play that until I play it on stream. I bought it to play it on stream, JFix. So that'll be an interesting one. I'm looking forward to that. Guys, much love. Thank you. I appreciate you. And I'll see you Sunday. I'll think of something. And even if I don't have something, I'll probably end up doing a gaming one. So yeah, Sunday, 2 p.m. GMT, BST. No, is it still GMT? It's still GMT, I think. Yeah. Is it? Yeah. Much love, guys. And I'll see you Sunday. Thank you. Goodbye.